that the testimony you're about Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wow. We're here. Hello, everybody. How are you? Happy Thursday. Happy to see you. My music's a little bit too loud. Give me just a second. Gotta get the balancing right on this. Welcome to the stream. Wow, yay. Womp, 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 womp. Uh-oh. The chroma key is messing up there. Throw some light on it. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I have not touched the the stream in a minute. We got the topic as me for some reason. It's been a crazy week. It has been a crazy week in the world of news and politics, as it has been for the entirety of the year. It feels like the moment it turned to 2026, we invaded Venezuela and stole Maduro, and we've not slowed down since. You know what I mean? It's crazy times we live in, and in spite of that, I'm here to try to absorb it. If you're here with me, I'm glad you're here. We'll try to absorb all this together. We've got a lot to get to today. Let's pull up the agenda. On today's agenda, we have Pam Bondi being interrogated to talk about stuff. We have the Save America Act. That's something that I wasn't expecting to kind of talk about today, but just kind of towards the end of my day, I was like just looking at news coverage, and I was like, oh, this is crazy. We got to talk about that. We have Gavin Newsom in the news, mostly just for like being in the discussion of things on like Twitter, because I'm chronically on Twitter. So we're going to talk about Gavin Newsom. We're going to talk about Hassan Piker a little bit in that discussion. We've got some AI news. There was also a crazy article that was going viral, both on Twitter and I imagine in other places. It was a Fortune article that got published regarding AI. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then if we have any time left over in our programming, we're also going to talk about Discord. It's not on the list because I only have space for 4 topics. But don't think we're not going to talk about more than just that. So, yeah, we're going to get into it. Let's go ahead and turn the music off because it's not very professional. All right. So, I will leave that there. Second monitor. First up on the list of stuff we're going to talk about, I think it's going to be the Pam Bondi hearing. I think it's the topic that's happening right now that is gaining the most attention in the news cycle. Pretty wild stuff. Let's get into it. So, lots of highlight moments from the hearing regarding Pam Bondi. There were real big standout moments. I went ahead and grabbed a few of them in advance, but is there like someone who will just kind of summarize why we're here? I haven't been able to like really watch much of this in advance. I like to, one, I'd like to give my authentic reaction on camera, but two, I don't really have the time to kind of vet this stuff. So unfortunately, we kind of have to go searching sometimes during the stream. This is an Associated Press moment. It's a heated moment regarding the Epstein files. This is Epstein testimony. Okay, here. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi attacked Democrats during her fiery House Judiciary Committee testimony on the U.S. Justice Department's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Yeah, all of this is regarding Epstein, from the sound of it. We're going to look at a few highlights here. One from the Associated Press, one from CBC News. I don't know who that is. I've never heard of CBC News. Scripps, CBS, and then we'll kind of look at this Face the Nation Hour and a half long. We likely won't sit through all of that. We have more to discuss, but like we'll probably sit through a good portion of that. But here's a minute or 2 minute moment from the Associated Press. Let's react.
About to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief, so help you God. Let the record show that the witness has answered.
Trump orders up prosecutions like pizza, and you deliver every time. He tells you to go after James Comey, Letitia James, Lisa Cook, and Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve Board. And
I am deeply sorry for what any victim has been through.
Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through?
I'm not
going to get in the...
Goodness. Okay, yeah, this cut from the Associated Press, not a lot of context, just like a bunch of weird highlight moments, and not even good ones so far. Like context would be appreciated in some of these moments.
Your Department of Justice has put them through.
I'm not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer
theatrics
the
are
question
ridiculous.
the way I asked it.
Chairman Jordan, I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people.
You can let her filibuster.
It's, I mean, it's not very often you see people give testimony in front of the House Judiciary Committee. But when you do, it's like very, very like, I'm in the hot seat. I remember, like, I've seen the CEO of Google. I've seen, was it the CEO of TikTok? The CEO, or like Mark Zuckerberg himself. I might be mistaken on what the setting was that they were giving testimony, but almost always it's like, don't interrupt us. Like, it's very formalized procedure. You will speak when spoken to. You'll speak when given the time. And this talking over one another is crazy. And it's not to say that, like, obviously we live in the times that we live in. We're coming right off the back of the giant Epstein Files release. That's why we're here to talk in the first place. You're not presenting much of like a good presentation for yourself, like when there isn't a degree of like controlled demeanor. This is wild stuff.
The way I asked it.
Chairman Jordan, I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch.
Reclaiming?
Not on our time. No way.
Reclaiming?
And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, I
anything.
did tell you because
You don't tell me. Whoa.
we saw what you did in the Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Loser lawyer. I love that. Can I do it? Never mind. We'll come back. I can't just start. I wanted to really zoom in on her face in this. Look at that grimace. Ugh. We got to stay a little bit professional here.
Tell me.
Yeah, I
anything.
did tell
In spite of the fact that what we're watching isn't.
you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in order.
I have several questions for you. Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names?
We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time.
Mr.
Mr. Chairman.
This isn't how this works.
Was the president
This isn't how this works. I don't know. I can't speak to how it works, but I get the sense it kind of is.
aware of Secretary Lutnick's ties to Epstein when he chose him to lead the Department of Commerce? Was he aware?
Chris Malin was a Border Patrol agent.
Okay, so I'm going to conclude that the president, in fact, did know about his ties because he was the next door neighbor.
Shame on you.
Oh, for goodness sakes,
You're
this
from
is
a tiny,
pathetic.
beautiful
This is
state.
pathetic, Mr.
Committee will
Chair.
be in order.
I am not asking trick questions here. The
got your
American
5
people have a right to know the answers to this. These are senior officials in the Trump administration.
Yeah, it's that's a real just like dog show. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a circus. Maybe that's the better way to put it. It's a circus in there. I didn't realize that Jim Jordan was the chairman of the House Judiciary. Serves the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee in the 119th Congress. I mean, I'm not surprised, given Jim's history. It's just... I'm just being so overwhelmed by other aspects of this administration, this Congress, et cetera, that somehow, like, Jim Jordan being the chairman for the House Judiciary Committee completely went under the radar for me. Moving on. I don't know if these other outlets are going to do the same thing that the Associated Press just did, which was just like a giant montage of circus acts, but we'll sit through them. I don't mind. How are you guys doing? Thanks for being here.
Like a prize fighter entering the ring.
Your message to the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein.
Attorney General Pam Bondi ready to go multiple rounds with the House Judiciary Committee.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, I did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
Why is it grainy as hell here? Pam Bondi clashes with lawmakers, defends handling of the Epstein files. I don't know how you would. It's not very good. Premier David Eby expected to speak soon.
At times, it seemed more like a bad reality TV show than a congressional hearing.
Who is this? CBC News. Radio Canada is Canadian Public Broadcast Service. Oh, it's Canadian. Well, that's welcome. Happy to have coverage from outside of the United States, because sometimes I feel like I'm just receiving the most propagandized coverage of ourselves. So, yeah, awesome. Glad to see that. I don't understand why the video is so grainy, though. It doesn't seem to be intentional.
I'm not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
But there were serious questions about the DOJ's handling of the Epstein files.
To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
And questions from Republican Thomas Massie about the redactions made in the latest release of 3 million Epstein.
I had heard the name Thomas Massie. I knew that, obviously, this is going to be more of my first-hand time watching some of this, but I had heard that he had really been aggressive in his line of questioning. I didn't realize he was a Republican.
Documents, which quickly devolved.
This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get... You're a failed politician.
The exchanges fast and testy.
You don't want to answer the question.
No, you don't get anything regarding public safety.
Thank you.
Nothing.
Thank you for the insult.
Bondi, as ever, defended her boss.
I find it interesting that she keeps going after President Trump, the greatest president in American history.
As she did.
I'm the greatest. I said it. Pam, you gotta tell everyone I'm the greatest. He's the greatest. He said so. You can't argue with his reasoning.
The last time she appeared before a congressional committee, Bondi would often turn the tables on the person asking the questions.
He represents New York. Wow. Yet he doesn't care about the illegal aliens convicted of crimes. Assault and homicide.
Time and again, House Democrats would try to...
Who was that? Hold on.
Bondi would often turn the tables on the person asking the questions.
He represents New York. Wow. Yet he doesn't care about the illegal aliens convicted of crimes. Assault and homicide.
I don't know who that was, but I get the sense it was just like there's an unflattering person of someone holding office in New York. You want to talk about Epstein? Look at this guy's picture.
Time and again, House Democrats would try to turn the page.
Obviously, I will get more context as we continue to react to this. I'm not entirely sure if that's the case.
But we're going to move back to you.
I bet we are.
Yes, of course, because you're here to testify. That's what the whole point of this endeavor is.
That may be, but by hearing's end, there were far more insults than answers. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Washington.
Thank you, Katie. Appreciate your coverage. Appreciate your 2-minute summary. That was well done. That was a wonderful insult. That like we're gonna come back to you. It's like, I bet you will. It's like, we're here for you, lady. This is all about you. This is your moment. Why are you hurt about that? It's because she doesn't want to be there. All right, Scripps. We got Scripps and we got CBS. We got the good old Ellison corporate media. We'll get there.
People have trick questions here. The American people have a right to know the answers to this. These are senior officials in the Trump administration. This is not a game, Secretary.
I'm Attorney General.
My apologies, I couldn't tell.
Everyone in the audience like giggling about that.
By 2008, we knew that Epstein was a convicted sexual abuser. And we now know that Lutnick went to Epstein's Island in 2012. How was that not a deal breaker for the president? And why aren't you asking questions of the Commerce Secretary about what he saw when he was at the island, which he lied about not ever going to? Why are you not asking these questions? And I see that my time is almost expired, so I will say this. Do the right thing, Attorney General. Meet with the survivors. They have been asking for a year. Meet with the survivors. Do the right thing. I yield back.
Lady yields back.
I feel like they could be a little bit more expansive even in their line of questioning. Like, if you truly want to back, not just Pam Bondi, but anyone who collaborated in releasing the Epstein files. Like, if you are a Republican defender for Trump, if you're trying to save face for Republicans and conservatives, no, I'm sorry. Like if you want to back them into a corner, I'm so sorry. My apologies. I'm getting my thoughts confused. You could simply ask them why they haven't interrogated any Democrats mentioned in the files. It's like, oh, you as Republicans, or like as the Trump administration, are really trying to kind of get away with this scot-free. And you as an interrogator could say to them, God, why am I struggling to speak? If that's the case, if this is a bipartisan issue, and you guys did so good handling the Epstein files, why haven't you arrested Bill Clinton? He's heavily implicated in these files. Why haven't you gone off after him? Why haven't you gone off after other liberal figureheads mentioned in the files? Stuff has been coming out about Hakeem Jeffries. You know, like it seems as if truly that the Democrats are pretty heavily implicated in these files. And yet they I feel like that is truly the nail in the coffin for like, this is not a Republican issue. This is not a Democratic issue. This is a systemic issue coming from the top, you know? But I don't think the House Judiciary Committee wants to concede the idea that Democrats are implicated in these in the Epstein files, which is why they won't take that line of questioning. I think the American people can definitely recognize that, and less compromised politicians, less compromised journalists certainly would be asking questions like that.
Gentleman from South Carolina is recognized for 5 minutes.
May I have 20 seconds of his time?
So that'll be up to the gentleman, but
absolutely, Madam.
Thank you. I was curious if you, Congresswoman, asked Bill Clinton that. Didn't see one tweet, not one. I didn't see one tweet when Joe Biden was in office about Bill Clinton.
Is she like checking her notes?
Didn't ask Merrick Garland anything about Epstein, not once when he was
weak sauce.
And also, I want.
Who responded weak sauce? When did I last say weak sauce? Who said that?
Epstein, not once when he was
Weak sauce.
And
Weak sauce.
also, I want the record to reflect that, you know, with this.
When was weak sauce terminology that anyone used? I'm sorry. That took me back to a time in my life that I can't even recall. Because I probably was doing really stupid shit. Not like drugs or like that's middle school. That took me back 20 years of my life.
Anti-Semitic culture right now, she voted
Ew,
against
what the fuck?
that, you know, with this anti-Semitic culture right now, she tweet when Joe Biden was in office about Bill Clinton. Didn't ask Merrick Garland anything about Epstein, not once when he was.
Weak sauce. Weak
And
sauce.
also, I want the record to reflect that, you know, with this anti-Semitic culture right now, she voted against a resolution condemning.
Oh,
He is Jewish. I just want to be clear.
do you want to go there, Attorney General? Or do you want to go there?
God damn.
belongs to the gentleman
Talking
from
about
South
anti-Semitism
Carolina.
to a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust. Really?
The committee will be in order.
Talk to Jared Wise about anti-Semitism.
The fact of the matter.
Is there another angle for that? Like, who was that directed at? I'm trying to process what I just kind of like heard. That's a response that she just gave to someone else who was providing her with a line of questioning, who must be of Jewish ancestry. Because otherwise, why would you be so offended about being accused of anti-Semitism? It's like, I myself am Jewish. I don't know who that was. Hopefully we can see that later.
Is that you will be remembered as one of the worst attorney generals in history. An attorney general who has prioritized obstruction over justice, corruption over the law, fealty to the president over loyalty to the Constitution. And Mr. Chairman, I will yield.
Gentlelady yields. Gentleman from Missouri is recognized. Excuse me, gentleman from Kansas, the Attorney
It's a circus. It's absolutely a circus, Slythe Fox.
General, former Attorney General, Mr. Schmidt is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and General Bondi, thanks for being here. Did you have anything you wanted to say before we talk?
I do. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you, my friend, for many years. I find it interesting that she didn't even want to try Congresswoman Crockett to ask any questions, because she certainly did not condemn her leader, Hakeem Jeffries, for taking money from Jeffrey Epstein after Epstein was convicted. And I will be brief to give you your time, Congressman.
That's not false. That isn't false. However, it's playing at bipartisanship partisanship when this is more than just partisan. This is, you know what
This
I'm
is
getting
what
at.
she didn't want to talk about. Texas, from Cuba, convicted, homicide, arson, weapon offense.
Convicted.
You know,
So what we talking about? Convict some of these perpetrators that rape these women that are sitting
Time
behind you
belongs
that you
to the
refuse to
gentleman
even
from
acknowledge
Kansas.
they are here.
Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General
Twice.
Bondi.
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked
the
you a
Attorney General, yes,
specific
sir.
question
Attorney General
that
can
I would
respond to your
like
question.
you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions. The witness get to answer in the way they want to answer them. Attorney General.
Jim Jordan is doing. He's trying so hard to be like, Pam, I'm doing my best, lady.
Not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the answer. So,
Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't
a
she ask
question.
Merrick Garland this?
I am
Twice,
reclaiming
when he
my
sat in
time,
my
and
chair.
when I
will
reclaim my
continue to
time,
answer.
it is
Mr. Chairman, the gentleman is
I'm
reclaiming
not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say this.
I'll direct it to
What a
you.
massive
No, I'm
cover-up.
answering a question.
Chairman, will you restore her time? The witness is
I'm not
interrupting.
going to get in the gutter with
Everyone's like, she won't shut the fuck up.
this woman.
Stop the
She's
time.
doing theatrics.
Let me-
Chairman
How many of
Jordan,
you
I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people,
How many
but
of you-
I'm going to answer the question.
How many have you indicted?
Again, the time belongs to
Reclaiming my time.
The time belongs.
I think it's very
Reclaiming
interesting.
my time.
I think it's very interesting.
You can.
She's not. She won't let me have my time. Sorry. I hate all of them.
He talks about they indicted. The president said they indicted him twice.
Mr. Chairman, please stop the clock and restore his time.
Okay, here we go with
Committee will
these
be in order.
theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentleman from New York. We will give you a few more seconds. We will do that. But when you ask the question, the witness gets to answer. You may not like the answer, but she gets to answer.
Look, I understand you're asking her a question. You need to understand that she's too incompetent to give a coherent answer. And none of us are going to be happy about the situation, but it just is what it is. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I really appreciate that. I do give dog shit answers.
How many of Epstein?
They don't like the answer, Chairman,
my time.
because it's honest. So he asked a 4-minute question.
Restore 45
and
seconds,
I am
Mr.
going
Nadler, please,
to
Mr. Chairman.
answer.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch. Not on our time. No way. And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, I did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
You're a lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in order.
Time, and I should get back at least 45 seconds.
Will you create a joint task force of the Department of Justice and governors and state attorney generals and district attorneys across the country to investigate the crimes that have taken place against these victims and more than 1,000 like them? The DOJ is not doing its job. Will you create a task force with state and local law enforcement to make that happen?
I don't understand how we're asking this question right now. And I'm preaching to the choir about this situation, but it's like, never mind. I don't need to vent about it. It's like, why is this question being asked right now? This could have been asked forever ago. It wasn't vetted. It is the bare minimum request. It's embarrassing to me that the House Judiciary Committee is even having to ask a question like this, because it instills no inspiration in the public that this shit is going to be handled competently.
Lady can respond. She wants to.
Thank you, Chairman. He called Chase Mulligan a wild goose chase and didn't even know who he was. He is a defendant in your own district who preyed on girls.
Mr. Chairman.
Well, you know what? If he were part of the Epstein investigation, you wouldn't do anything about it.
Online chat rooms and committed sextortion. Yet he didn't even know in your tiny little district who he
Mr. Chairman,
was.
she's embarrassing
He's
you.
about to be
This is your committee, and she is embarrassing you.
It's my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question.
You can
Within
give me-
40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes
You
of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700,
co-conspirator.
and
Okay.
we invited
You know what?
you
Show the
in.
video.
This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to. You're a failed politician.
Wonderful. Loved it. Let her cook. Oh, we have CBS as well. We don't need to watch the CBS. Like, clearly, after watching all those different kind of highlight reels from different outlets, we could tell that this is bonkers, wacko, other silly words to describe circuses. Anyways, let's go ahead and do I want to watch Jim Jordan's opening statement? Not particularly. Let's skip to, we've got Jamie Raskin. Looks like a line of questioning from him. Pam Bondi has an opening statement. We will watch that. Pramila Jayapal. I'm probably mispronouncing that. Let's watch as much as we can, anyways.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman, and welcome, Attorney General Bondi. You've got the best lawyer's job in America because your mission is justice and your clients are the American people.
Oh, God, spare me.
To promote justice for the people, you've got to listen to the victims, like the women seated behind you today. Those are just some of the hundreds of survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's global sex trafficking ring who are demanding that the truth be told and are demanding accountability for the abusers who trafficked and raped them. You still haven't met with these survivors. So with their permission, let me introduce to you the survivors and late survivors' family members who are present today. There's Teresa Helm, there's Jess Michaels, Laura Bloom McGee, Danny Bensky, Liz Stein, Marina Lacerda, Sky and Amanda Roberts, who are the family of the late Virginia Giuffre, Charlene Rouchard, and Lisa Phillips. Now, you're not showing a lot of interest in the victims, Madam Attorney General.
If I recall, and I have no idea, the camera's not even on her. My understanding is that she did not once turn around to even look at them. There's a really kind of the photo is tense. You could scrape off of the photo the tensity of this photo that I saw, where she's just like staring forward while all of these victims are just lined up behind her. It's rough.
Whether it's Epstein's human trafficking ring or the homicidal governmental violence against citizens in Minneapolis, as Attorney General, you're siding with the perpetrators and you're ignoring the victims.
This is 9 minutes into the hearing as well.
That will be your legacy unless you act quickly to change course. You're running a massive Epstein cover-up right out of the Department of Justice. You've been ordered by subpoena and by Congress to turn over 6 million documents, photographs, and videos in the Epstein files, but you've turned over only 3 million. You say you're not turning over the other 3 million because they're somehow duplicative, but we know that there are actual memos of victim statements in there, and you also took down the Department of Justice's prosecution memo from 2019. So it's clearly not all duplicative, but even if it were, why not release it? Just release all the duplicative stuff. In the half you did produce, you redacted the names of abusers, enablers, accomplices, and co-conspirators, apparently to spare them embarrassment and disgrace, which is the exact opposite of what the law ordered you to do. Even worse, you shockingly failed to redact many of the victims' names, which is what you were ordered to do by Congress.
And I kind of want to touch on this briefly as well, because as someone who consumes media myself, like everyone in the media consumes media. It's natural. Now, obviously, people who are journalists try to kind of get through it first. You have to get through the first-hand stuff first. But eventually, if something goes mega viral, you need to get a sense of like what the rest of the country is saying when discussing shit like this. The Epstein Files release is prolific in its magnitude. And I think everyone who would listen to me say that would not contest that this is one of the biggest stories in American history. Like what develops now and into like the next year, potentially even longer, we are finding ourselves in historic times. This shit will be written down in history books. And when we retroactively look back on this period of time, it will not just cover 2026. This section of history, the Epstein controversy, Donald Trump, the White House, the Donald Trump White House, and their potential involvement with Epstein. And I would not call it potential. I would call it definitively involved. This will go back 30 years or more, okay? However, what will be written in the history books will be documenting what is written in the Epstein files, the correspondence and emails in writing. What will likely not be written in the history books, what will not survive documentation, is the JPEGs, the MP4 files, the MP3 files, the media that you largely have not seen, even in our current news coverage. is the lack of visual media coming out of the Epstein files. And the reason for that is because the visual media is just as graphic as the descriptions are in written media. There are people who have gone through the visual media released in the Epstein files, and the DOJ has so largely failed to, when addressing the visual media in the Epstein files, they have failed just as much in that capacity as they have in the written material. And because the written material has been such a failure of large proportions, you can imagine, understandably, that there was a plentitude of CSAM that was failed to properly be censored. There are blatant depictions of child sexual abuse in the visual media coming out of the Epstein files. Some of it is censored, for sure. Some of it was failed. And it is for that reason that journalists, people covering this story, cannot even download that material because it is fucking illegal to possess CSAM. It is illegal. Children, minors, who are like going through their sexual awakenings, because that happens around 16 or 17, it is still illegal for them to take photos of themselves and distribute it, because that is material of minors in those situations. Even if you yourself, as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, are taking photos of yourself and distributing that, that is fucking illegal. That is the law in the United States. I'm pretty certain. Obviously, minors who are going through their awakening do, but it is considered illegal. And so you can't like save that shit, because now guess what? You're in possession of it. It's illegal. There was a reason I brought this up. Something that he had said like triggered this in my brain.
Even worse, you shockingly failed to redact many of the victims' names, which is what you were ordered to do by Congress. Some of the victims had come forward publicly, but many had not. Many had kept their torment private, even from family and friends, but you published their names, their identities,
I guess I'm just speaking to like how much of a failure in protecting the witnesses truly was when it came to releasing even just these 3 million files.
Images on thousands of pages for the world to see. So you ignored the law, and even with over 100,000 employees at your disposal, you acted with some mixture of staggering incompetence, cold indifference, and jaded cruelty towards more than 1,000 victims raped, abused, and trafficked.
Really well said.
This performance screams cover-up. Convicted sex trafficker and groomer Ghislaine Maxwell opened the gates of hell to Virginia Giuffre and hundreds of other victims, as Virginia reported in her remarkable book, Nobody's Girl. But when Maxwell was subpoenaed to come testify before Congress, you and Todd Blanche quickly moved her from a higher security prison to a minimum security camp in Texas, where she's enjoyed 5-star treatment, including catered meals, private gym time, and access to a therapy puppy. All because Todd Blanche, who's utterly failed to investigate the monstrous crimes of Epstein and Maxwell's co-conspirators, spent 9 hours with Maxwell and satisfied himself that she would have nothing untoward to say about Donald Trump, which is your only real interest in the matter, based on institutional performance. But abandoning victims and coddling perpetrators is what you do best. When the FBI opened a criminal investigation into the brutal killing in Minneapolis of Renee Good, a poet and 37-year-old mother of 3, by Trump's masked paramilitary ICE agents, you shut it down. You claim you're investigating the cold-blooded murder of Alex Preddy, an ICU nurse at the VA, But how can we trust the administration when the president and Kristi Noem call Preddy a domestic terrorist and Stephen Miller called him a would-be assassin? Not only did you refuse to share evidence with the state and local investigators and prosecutors in Minnesota, you have blocked their access to the crime scene and the evidence.
It's a very good point. Like, it's not very relevant to why they are there, but it does speak to her continued failings of transparency and, yeah, just pretty much that, I guess. I mean, obviously this was going to be broadcast in this manner. He was aware, and it just speaks to, like, just the... I think the emotional state of the American people, frustration with ICE, both Renee Nicole Good's murder and Alex Preddy's murders have really kind of awoken the nation to more of this shit. Anyways, yeah.
How are you seeking justice for Marimar Martinez, the Montessori school teacher in Chicago who was shot 5 times by a Border Patrol agent who bragged about it on text? Or the family of Keith Porter, a father of 2 shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent in LA? Or the family of Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, shot and killed in Illinois minutes after he dropped his kids off at school? There's no sign of any movement at the Department of Justice. You even launched a criminal investigation into Renee Good's grieving widow. How sick is that? But it's even worse. You've turned the People's Department of Justice into Trump's instrument of revenge. Trump orders up prosecutions like pizza, and you deliver every time. He tells you to go after James Comey, Letitia James, Lisa Cook, and Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve Board, and members of Congress like Adam Schiff, Mark Kelly, Alyssa Slotkin, Chrissy Houlihan, Jason Crow, Chris DeLuzio, and Maggie Goodlander, to name a few, and you snap to it. You replace real prosecutors with counterfeit stooges who robotically do the president's bidding. Nothing in American history comes close to this complete corruption of the justice function and contamination of federal law enforcement. And the good news is...
We're going to move on. I get the feeling that he's really kind of just posturing at this point. He makes good points, for sure, but it's all political at this point. He's moved on from just the kind of Epstein criticisms to kind of just posturing.
Reclaim our time. That means it's time for you to stop speaking. We only have 5 minutes, so when we reclaim our time, that means you stop. And if you don't, we will ask the chair to stop the clock and let you go on his time. The quality of justice in America depends on the character of our government. Please do your job and bring the Department of Justice back from the brink. The survivors seated behind you and the American people watching everywhere deserve a Department of Justice worthy of its name. I yield back, Mr. Chair.
Without objection, all of the opening statements will be included in the record. We will now introduce today's witness. The Honorable Pamela J. Bondi has served as the Attorney General of the United States since February 5th, 2025. She previously served in the
Hey, that's my birthday.
Office of the White House Counsel, 2 terms as the Florida Attorney General, and spent more than 18 years as a prosecutor. We welcome our witness.
It's so weird, too, because, like, February 5th of this year, I forget what happened. It's a heavily political year this time now.
And thank her for appearing today. We will begin by swearing you in. Would you please rise and raise your right hand?
This doesn't mean anything for shit.
Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief, so help you God? Let the record show that the witness has answered in the affirmative. Thank you. You can be seated. And please know that your written testimony will be entered into the record in its entirety. Accordingly, we ask that you summarize your testimony. Madam Attorney General, you may begin.
Thank you.
Jesus, I swear to God that, like, I'm trying my best to, like, remember what Jim Jordan has had controversies for. I feel like it had something to do with, like, wrestling. That's gonna eat away at me. Does someone in the chat know why in the world Jim Jordan is, like... Someone please give me a refresher on why in the world I feel it's so weird that he's the chairman.
Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Raskin, and distinguished members of this committee. Thank you for hosting me here today. I'm grateful for the opportunity to answer your questions, highlight the work of our department.
I'm here to spread propaganda, dog. That's all I'm here for.
Opportunity to answer your questions, highlight the work of our department, and discuss the most important topic of all, keeping the American people safe.
Bullshit.
A little over a year ago, I was sworn into office as the 87th Attorney General of the United States. I came into office with the goal of refocusing the Department of Justice on its core mission after years.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought. He has his own, like, fucking allegations of sexual misconduct. Yeah, alright. Thank you, Jim Jordan. Appreciate you leading the time here.
Years of bloated bureaucracy and political weaponization. The Department of Justice's core mission is to fight violent crime, protect the American people, and defend the rule of law above all else. While our work is never done, we have made tremendous progress to make America safe again. In 2025, we saw the lowest murder rate in 125 years. That's nothing short of historic.
We're so awesome.
Compare 25 to 24, here's what you'll find. The murder rate is down 21%, robbery down 23%, carjacking down 43%, gun assault down 22%, ag assault, burglary, could go on and on.
I could go on and on.
This did not happen by accident. The numbers tell an important yet straightforward story. President Trump has given us the resources, the support, and the leadership to protect the American people.
Yeah!
President Trump's policies have saved lives.
MAGA, MAGA!
Policy outcome more important than protecting the lives of American citizens. Can you?
In our borders. The moment they're flown to islands beyond our borders, that's their business.
This trend has been especially clear in Washington, D.C. and in Memphis. These are two iconic American cities that spent years in the grip of horrific violent crime. The Department of Justice surged law enforcement resources, and the results came quickly. Crime plummeted in both cities. And I want to make one point loud and clear.
Say it.
We achieved those results by working with Democratic mayors.
Democratic mayors have been putting in some real good work on reducing crime, and we are more than happy to take all the credit for that.
Safety does not have a party registration. When your constituents call 911, they don't ask for political views of the responding officer. They ask for help. I have federal agents in each and every one of your districts. They're here to help, and I am here to help. Many cities and states have worked with us.
I've got so many cops that have committed domestic abuse who will come to save your ass.
And taken advantage of our federal support. Some have not. Meanwhile, a few elected officials have declared that they are, quote, at war with the federal government and encouraged widespread obstruction of law enforcement. This has resulted in avoidable clashes on the streets, as you've all seen. We've seen rioters storming a Christian church. Citizens and law enforcement officers have both been endangered by reckless rhetoric. We have made dozens of arrests in and around Minneapolis so far, and many of them could have been avoided by simple compliance with federal law.
Oh, yeah. The compliance of when I tell you to do something and my partner tells you to do the exact opposite. Why haven't you complied? I told you to sit down. He told you stand up.
Our efforts reach beyond our urban centers. We are striking crucial blows against terrorist organizations such as MS-13, TDA, the Sinaloa Cartel, and Antifa. And as we sit here, I think you've seen the news this morning. The news is reporting
What is it?
that cartel drones are being shot down by our military.
Whoa!
You care about right now, protecting America.
America!
As we seek to dismantle these drug trafficking networks that poison Americans, in 2025, our DEA agents seized more than 47 million fentanyl pills.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. The girl behind her has the stare of 1,000 suns.
And more than 9,800 total.
It's not
kilos
here or there. Sorry, I just get distracted.
of fentanyl.
Moving on.
That represents
Okay,
360
we're gonna move forward. This is all just propaganda.
doses that can kill Americans.
Get to the end of your statement, Pam.
The Department of Justice is committed to holding criminals accountable to the fullest extent of the law. In 2025, the FBI arrested over 1,700 child predators, a 10% increase from 2024. We also located 2,700 victims of child exploitation and shut down 3.8 million dark web pedophile accounts.
That is a huge number. 3.8? American? Like, what are you getting at? What is the total? Hold on. American population. Okay, 3, 4, 1. Okay. All right. I was wondering if that was like a more significant portion of the American population. She said 3.8 mil?
8 million dark
Yeah.
web pedophile.
Still, that's a fucking crazy number. That's 1%. 1% of every American is a pedophile?
Accounts.
I just love when they start because it's been like this for the last 10 years now. Trump just pulls numbers out of his ass. He's like, today I'm gonna go with 1 billion. 1 billion. And it's just bled. Like so many of his crazy speaking habits have just bled into politics as a whole. Millions and millions, billions and billions, and then the other shit that he says. Like, they just took it. They're like, oh, he does it, so we'll just pull numbers out of our ass. And just holding it to, like, just a sense of, like, really? That's what you're going with? 1% of all Americans are pedophiles? They have accounts on the dark web?
3.8 million. So please, if you have information to share that needs to be investigated, contact the FBI.
Hey, if you got to share something, give me a call.
Our shared obligation to protect the American people, uphold the rule of law, and keep this nation safe.
But not like from pedophiles, just like in a weird, like in an ideological sense, not in a literally saving American sense. My boss wants to fuck kids, and I mean, he's got to get his off, you know? So, like, Mexicans is what we mean. Like, we don't like them. Dark-skinned people. But, like, they can keep fucking kids and shit.
Thank you.
The gentlelady from Washington is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Attorney General Bondi, right here.
I'm over here. Hold on. Okay. Pam Bondi sitting over here. Hello, Miss Bondi. Thank you so much. Hey, over here. Yeah, hello, over. Yeah, hi, Pam. God damn, that's funny.
We are
Jesus, let's run that back.
Lady from Washington is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Attorney General Bondi, right here. We are joined in this room by some of the thousands of survivors from Jeffrey Epstein's horrific sex trafficking ring. They have shown such incredible courage in speaking out, in demanding accountability to bring the predators and pedophiles to justice. The Epstein Files Transparency Act required your Department of Justice to disclose the perpetrators connected with Epstein's criminal activities and to redact the information of survivors to protect their identities. Let me show you what actually happened. First, in violation of the law, your department has shown a pattern of redacting the names of powerful predators. Here behind me is one example of an email from Epstein to a man whose name was redacted. The email reads, quote, "Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video."
Miss, yeah, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's the big man himself. And not Mr. Trump, but that's Mr. Trump's boss. I can't allege too much because I'll get myself in hot water. Also, by the way, I don't have any plans to like stop living anytime soon, so bear that in mind. Free Palestine. Fuck whoever this is. I have my suspicions. Bitch.
Only after members of Congress demanded that we see the unredacted files did the world learn the name of this individual, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayman, the chairman and CEO of a company that had financial ties to President Trump's business and personal ties to Trump's advisor, Steve Bannon. Second, the survivors were not similarly protected, also in violation of the law. Here is another email titled Epstein Victim List. We have blurred the names of the survivors for their protection, but your Department of Justice initially released this list of 32 survivors' names with only one name redacted.
Jesus Christ.
Along with numerous files that disclose not only
Like you can't even make the argument that you ignored that page because you censored one of them.
the names, the emails, and the addresses of survivors, but also nude photographs and even the identities of Jane Does who had been protected for decades until your department released their names. Survivors are now telling us that their families are finding out for the first time that they were trafficked by Epstein.
Jesus Christ. Let me back it up real quick because I want to make sure that she just validated something I'd said earlier.
Those files that disclose not only the names, the emails, and the addresses of survivors, but also nude photographs and even the identities of Jane Does who had been protected for decades until...
Kinda, not really. I've heard other people discuss it. I haven't gone through the visual media myself because I don't want to see that shit. But I have heard other people say that that yes, uncensored CSAM was featured in the release of the Epstein files, and so she doesn't say CSAM specifically, but she does say nudes.
Your department released their names. Survivors are now telling us that their families are finding out for the first time that they were trafficked by Epstein. In their words, quote, "This release does not provide closure. It feels like a deliberate attempt to intimidate survivors, punish those who came forward, and reinforce the same culture of secrecy that allowed Epstein's crimes to continue for decades." To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand.
Are we going to get the camera angle I was talking about earlier?
And if you are willing,
I don't think
please
so.
raise your hands
No.
if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
No, they've only got the two
Please know for the
angles
record
from
that every single
CBS.
survivor has raised their hand.
Hold on. Let's see. Pam Bondi hearing victims hands raised. Images. Yeah, I think this is the image I had seen. How's it look on stream? Yeah, right above me. She is not bothering. She's looking straight down at her notes. Some of the victims are eyeballing her. Deplorable, disgusting. I hate it.
Attorney General Bondi, you apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
Nah, she's not going to turn, is she?
Congresswoman, you sat before Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General
Twice.
Bondi,
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a specific question that I would like you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility.
Even Jim Jordan is just like, dude, I'm not fucking touching that. You go crazy, Ms. Jayapal.
For your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors.
It's like, do I really want to play defense for Pam Bondi right now? It's like, fine, just keep going.
Who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions. The witness get to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
That's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the answer. So,
She doesn't like the fact that I'm not going to apologize for this mass child rape ring. She's kind of a hater, if you ask me.
Mr. Chairman,
why?
I have asked
Didn't she ask Merrick Garland this?
I am reclaiming my time, and when I
will
reclaim my
continue to
time,
answer.
it is
Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady has reclaimed her
I'm not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentlelady.
I'm not getting in the gutter with those women who were sexually abused by Epstein. Jesus.
The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say
I'll
this.
direct it to
What
you.
a massive
No, I'm
cover-up.
answering a question.
Chairman, will you restore her time? The witness is
I'm not
interrupting.
going to get in the gutter with this woman.
Stop the
She's
time
doing theatrics.
and let me have my time.
The gentlelady from Washington controls the time. The gentlelady has 17 seconds. You can proceed with your final 17 seconds.
What a massive cover-up this has been and continues to be. Donald Trump made the release of the Epstein files the center of his political campaign because he thought it would benefit him. Then you got into office, Attorney General, claimed to have a client list, only
Regular
to
order.
then say that there was no list. Your deputy, Todd Blanche, met alone with Elaine Maxwell and transferred her to a minimum security prison. And now you continue the cover-up, and I wish that you would turn around to the survivors who are standing right behind you and on a human level
Chairman,
apologize
Chair now
to them
recognizes the chair.
on what you have done.
Time of the
I
gentlelady
yield
expired.
back.
The gentlelady, you have no time to yield back.
Theatrics.
We appreciate that. We appreciate the thought. Gentleman from New York is recognized.
All right. We are 33 minutes into reacting to this. We do have other stuff to get to. I think we will. How long does? We'll give it another 10 minutes because I genuinely do really enjoy this. Well, not enjoy, but like I'm finding the whole hearing rather fascinating. We'll give it another 10 minutes. We're not going to listen to the whole hour and a half thing. We've got other stuff to get to, but yeah. Thank you for being here.
Mr. Chairman, I want to begin by acknowledging the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's horrific abuse who are in the room with us today. I want to thank all of you for your bravery in speaking out. I want to say that you and the other survivors of these heinous crimes deserve better from this Department of Justice. In particular, it is shocking that the department did not redact the names of Epstein's victims, but it did redact the names of their abusers. I don't know whether this was done out of incompetence or whether it was deliberate and malicious. Either way, it is completely unacceptable. Even more troubling...
It's blatantly intentional and malicious. I don't know how you were like, all right, guys, we got a list. We got all these documents. We gotta redact some stuff. We gotta make some stuff public. Yeah, okay. So all the abusers are being outed because they're evil. Okay, good. And then all the victims, we need to protect their identities. So we censor that. Okay, good game plan, everyone. Let's get it. Oops, we did the opposite. I think we did perfect, honestly.
DOJ has failed to bring any of these perpetrators to justice. Instead, it has engaged in a relentless pursuit of Donald Trump's perceived enemies. I want to focus on just one example. The Attorney General of my home state of New York, Tish James.
I'm so sorry. It is the main reason. Truly, it is the main reason why I think so many people are falling into conspiratorial lines of thinking when moving forward with just addressing anything related to the Epstein situation. It is the fact that the DOJ has the sentiment that this was an act of incompetence does not hold up to any basic scrutiny of logic. The only logical alternative to that explanation is that it was blatant and malicious. I think everyone would accept that fact, you know? Yeah, nothing more to say, really.
This DOJ has been hell-bent on securing an indictment against Ms. James for something, anything, simply because she held Donald Trump's companies accountable for years of financial fraud. And indeed, the department manufactured an investigation against her for alleged, quote, mortgage fraud. But the U.S. attorney leading the investigation, Eric Siebert, a Trump appointee, refused to bring charges against Ms. James because there was simply no evidence. Unfortunately, a prosecutor who refuses to do Trump's bidding has no place in this DOJ, so Mr. Siebert was forced out. Trump could not contain his fury that he expressed to you in a social media post addressed to you by name. I'm sure you've seen it. Quote,
Oh.
I fired him and there is a great case, he wrote to you about Mr. Siebert. Then we moved down.
Yeah, I think this is the one that, like, he put on Truth Social, and everyone was like, was this supposed to be in an email? And then they, like, doubled down, and they're like, no! Like, he played a 4D chess move by putting that on social media. I think, if I recall correctly.
Delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now. And obviously, you followed that order.
Yeah.
Lindsay Halligan, Trump's former defense lawyer who had never prosecuted a case in her life, was installed to replace Mr. Siebert, and it was clear that part of her mandate was to go after Ms. James. Halligan immediately sought an indictment, which your court dismissed because Halligan was illegally put into the role. But your department was undeterred. Not once, but twice, it tried to indict Attorney General James in separate courts. Both grand juries rejected you and refused to indict her. It is practically unheard of for a grand jury to refuse an indictment. In 2016, it happened in just 6 cases out of over 150,000 offenses. And you had it happen twice in the same week, in 2 different courts. That must have been humiliating. Now there are reports that you are continuing to investigate her. The amount of resources that have gone into targeting Attorney General James, months of investigations, multiple failed indictments, is astounding. Since your own prosecutors told you that there is not enough evidence to support a conviction, it's clear that you were going after her simply because she held President Trump accountable and he wants to punish her. And she is just one name on a long list of Trump political enemies that DOJ is reportedly targeting. From Jerome Powell and Lisa Cook at the Federal Reserve to James Comey, numerous Democratic members of Congress, John Brennan, Jack Smith, Democratic officials in Minnesota, Chris Krebs, Miles Taylors, and more. Those are just the ones we know about. In contrast to these politically motivated investigations, grasping at something they can charge their enemies with, we now have concrete evidence of disgusting criminality revealed in the Epstein files. So I really have just one question for you. How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
The way he presented that argument was very much like I'm trying to like absorb every aspect of like what he just said. It's like you are historically incompetent and also politically motivated based off of what we have seen. So how can you, it's not just like what he asked, like how can you who have you subpoenaed? Like, who have you gone after? And also, how can we trust that whatever it is that you are pursuing isn't politically motivated? It's a layered question after kind of giving that introduction. Because it's not just a straightforward, like, yes or no. Are you going after anyone? It's like, also, if you are, how do we know that it is objective, unbiased?
You showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
And rightfully so. Like, even for me, I was like, okay, hold on. What are you really getting at? I would be flustered too. And the fact that he was like, you didn't answer my question in 5 seconds, I'd be pissed off too if I were her. She deserves it. I want to see that again. Hold on.
You showed it. I find it.
How many have you?
I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer the
theatrics are
question the way
ridiculous.
I asked it.
Chairman Jordan, I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people, but I'm going to answer the question.
How many have you indicted?
Again, the time belongs to
Reclaiming my time.
The time belongs.
I think it's very interesting.
My time.
I think it's very interesting
You can
that
reclaim
he
your
talks
time,
about
but
they indicted. The president said they indicted him twice.
Mr. Chairman, please stop the clock and restore his time.
Okay, here we go with
Committee will
these
be in order.
theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentleman from New York. We will give you a few more seconds. We will do that. But when you ask a question, the witness gets to answer. You may not like the answer, but she gets to
The
answer.
question was, how many of Epstein's...
They don't like the answer, Chairman,
my time.
because it's honest. So he asked a 4-minute question.
I hate to play defense for Pam Bondi, but even I would have been like, hold on, give me a moment. I need to really process everything you just said. Clearly, and God, this is where I kind of talk a little bit about the fact that like the culture that has kind of encapsulated the American public over the last 10 years, the progress of social media, TikTok brain rot, how chronically online everybody is, along with the fact that like probably just chemicals in the air. I'm getting way too crazy about this. I feel like collectively we all have COVID brain, you know? How much did the collective IQ for everyone in America go down after COVID? You know what I mean? I feel like I'm not stupid, but I constantly say to myself, I by no means am qualified to even hold public office. I don't think I'm smart enough. Like, I'm not a razor sharp kind of mind to be holding public office or leading shit. And it truly makes me wonder, like, just how much of the influencer administration that we have, how many people in the White House right now were former podcasters? You know what I mean? It truly brings into question, like, God, we're all so fucking stupid. Me, I'll speak for myself, and then the White House, and Pam Bondi herself.
For 45 seconds, Mr. Nadler, please, Mr. Chairman.
Answer.
I mean, you can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch. Not on our time. No way. And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, oh, I did
anything,
tell you because we
washed
saw
up
what you did in the
loser
Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in order.
Time, and I should get back at least 45 seconds.
We will give you a few more seconds.
Dude, look at the cameras. They're all like, "Whoa, this is crazy!" Hold on, let me get down there with them. I'm a videographer. I'm a cameraman. I will have my shenanigans. I hope you all will forgive me.
Not on our time. No way. And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, oh, I did
Whoa!
tell you because we saw
Step.
what you did in the Senate.
Whoa. Stop. Whoa, this is crazy! Oh, I fucking hit my green screen. Anyways.
Back at least 45 seconds.
We will give you a few more seconds. I said that already.
45 seconds.
Okay, I'm timing right now, Mr. Nadler.
All right.
During my time, the answer to my question, how many of Epstein's co-conspirators has she indicted, is 0. You have been the Attorney General for a whole year, and your DOJ fired the lead prosecutor of this case, sat on evidence this entire time, and claimed falsely last July that there were no more leads. It took an act of Congress for you to finally release part of the Epstein files, and when you did, you included personal information about the victims while protecting the names of abusers.
Time of the gentleman
None of
has
the perpetrators
expired.
have been brought to justice, but enormous resources
Time
are
of the
dedicated
gentleman
to
has
pursuing Trump's
expired,
enemies.
and
It's
obviously
clear
there
that
was-
under your leadership, the Department of Justice
there was
no longer
no
works
question
for the
in
American
there.
people. It works
to
for
respond
Donald
to.
Trump. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back.
May I answer?
I think our next questioner, Madam Attorney General, is going to give you time to respond to
Thank you, Chairman.
all kinds of things. So we will turn to the gentleman from Texas for 5 minutes.
Ms. Bondi, you go right ahead. I'm over here. The time is yours.
Thank you. First, he brought up the president saying they indicted me twice. They sure did. They tried to impeach him twice, and you, Mr. Nadler, were one of the leads on the impeachment. I was on the other side. I lived that with you. During impeachment, you said the president conspired, sought foreign interference in the 2016 election. Robert Mueller found no
I mean, he
evidence.
did.
No.
Genuinely, he did. Like, didn't he call on Ukraine to, like, investigate Clinton? Just by even saying that shit out loud. Like, it's not good conspiring or good conspiracy or whatever. But you're calling upon a foreign nation to investigate your political opponent. It's blatant.
A foreign interference in 2016. Have you apologized to President Trump? Have you apologized to President Trump, all of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against Donald Trump? You all should be apologizing. You sit here.
Like that is the famous quid pro quo. If we forgot about that, right? Like, I constantly need to check the shit that I say sometimes. Quid pro quo. Trump. Like, that was about Ukraine, right? Central of the first impeachment allegations, he withheld $400 million in military aid to pressure Ukraine into investigating his rivals. Yeah.
And you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. I'm not going to put up with it. You know, all they want to do, the American people need to know this. They are talking about Epstein today. This has been around since the Obama administration. This administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million, and Donald Trump signed that law.
You were required to release 6 million. Yeah. I can't speak to, like, why Obama didn't release it. I can't speak to why, well, I could probably speak a little bit more to why the first Trump administration didn't release it. And then Joe Biden labeled it in an active investigation, right? So they couldn't release it, is my understanding. You make a great point. Why didn't they release it? Why aren't you releasing more? Anyways.
To release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history.
I mean, he would have been accused of being a pedophile if he had refused to sign it. Like, it was more politically advantageous for Trump to just concede to the fact that, like, the Senate unanimously decided to release the Epstein files. The House of Representatives, outside of, like, one representative, if I recalled, wanted the Epstein files to be released. It would have been political suicide for him to just say, no, we're not going to. I don't want us to release them because I'm in the files. Everyone would have accrued it to, oh, you are clearly implicated in the files. Obviously, he is, because he's in them, and now we exist in the timeline we existed. But, like, it wouldn't have changed the fact that everyone thinks he's a fucking pedophile. Just because he caved doesn't make him transparent about it.
And none of them asked.
It was just more like a gambit. It's like, oh, do I deny the fact that I'm a pedophile and everyone thinks I'm a pedophile? Or do I play the 40 chess move and say, yeah, release it? And then when everyone finds out I'm a pedophile, I can say, but I told you guys.
Merrick Garland, over the last 4 years, one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now.
Guys, the fucking Dow. Guys, have you looked at my portfolio? It's fucking awesome.
For $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7.
Sorry. Hold on, look at. Oh my god, he's got a huge smile. I'm covering him up with my fucking I'm covering him up with my bug up here in the corner. This lady's trying to, like, hide her smile. This dude is ear to ear.
50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000, and the Nasdaq smashing records. America.
Guys, we're going to the moon. Stocks are up.
That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Committee will be in order.
Mr. Jordan, am I going to get an extra 45 seconds?
Who's in the back fucking shouting?
Added to my time?
The committee will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. Ms. Bondi, the Attorney General can respond.
Thank you. The Dow has shattered 50,000 for the first time. This is crazy. They said it couldn't be done in 4 years, yet President Trump has done it in 1 year. National median rents have fallen to a 4-year low thanks to Donald Trump. That's why they want to focus on...
Guys, I know he fucked kids, but, like, our portfolio is going through the fucking roof. I mean... I have my fun. I have my jokes. I'm not going to go that far. I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah, this is a shit show. Clearly, this is just propaganda on Maine for everyone to see. She's a dork-ass, dipshit, pedophile protector. Simple as that. I don't think we really need to get into any more than this. It's a circus. It's a circus. It's a circus. Because this will resolve. This will resolve. We're gonna put that right behind us for a moment. Actually, no. I want her right next to me. Where is she? Where is she? Hold on. Let's put her. Look at this. All right. This hand right here. When this inevitably resolves, and it will, there is too much now available to the general public regarding some secret fucking cabal of child rapists, pedophiles, molesters. There are hints of cannibalism, and there is enough fuel to in the files for people to be conspiring for fucking decades about what happened And there is not enough to give us definitive answers. But the American public is pissed as fuck. The press secretary or whatever was receiving questions about the Epstein files. And she's like, we're going to move on from the Epstein files. Like, the American people are done with this topic. And everyone collectively said, no, the fuck we're not. No, the fuck we're not. And I don't think it's going to happen very easily. They could invade Venezuela and steal Maduro. That will not stop people from talking about the Epstein files. They can fucking tank the stocks. They can raise gold and silver. Everyone's stock portfolios, whatever, can either raise up through the roof or tank. The US dollar could inflate to the moon. There is nothing that is going to stop the American public from talking about this issue right here. And when everything inevitably comes out regarding Epstein, his co-conspirators, and what happened behind closed doors on Little St. James and everything like that, ultimately, we will come back to this moment, this manufacturing of consent. And I think the American public will very potentially, it is very possible that we are about to go Abrahamic on these motherfuckers. The people thirst for it. They yearn for it. They want to beat the shit out of child molesters, murderers, cannibals, you know. And I'm not saying that happened, but I am saying that there are enough hints of it in the Epstein files without enough clarity to know one way or the other. They're not being transparent. And so the logical conclusion is the American public is getting really pissed off, and they're going to start taking shit into their own hands. That's just how I feel. I'm going to kind of circle back to like this general environment sense that so many people are having about, like, we live in crazy world, crazy times. I'm going crazy. You're going crazy. We're collectively going crazy. It's so hard to trust what's on the timeline, what's being fed to us through different algorithms of social media. I'm going crazy. Like, it's this continuous sense that I truly think that will lead to people snapping. And I frequently come back to the famous JFK quote. JFK, what is the word? Violent resistance. What is this quote? Okay. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable. Imagine a politician nowadays, in today's environment, saying something as radical as those words, okay? It's very logical. It's a very logical sentence. But I feel like he was able to say these words during more times of clarity because people kind of understood general ideas of just political backlash, looking historically at how politics has developed in other nations throughout history. It's like, yeah, if you really kind of piss the people off, they will react in violent manners. There's a clarity behind it. And it's crazy as the leader of a nation for someone like JFK to say something as he's recognizing, like, if I piss the people off enough, they will come for my head. I will be placed on the guillotine and my head will fucking roll. Okay? But we don't talk like that right now because all of them are collectively clenching their assholes saying, I hope you guys aren't pissed off with me because I think you have plenty of good reason to chop my fucking head off. That's the times we exist in right now. We are not speaking, we are not uttering certain words and phrases because those who control and run the nation and manufacture consent through the media, like we can't, we're on the tipping point and we all recognize it. So we can't say or talk about this shit. And I feel like a crazy person because I'm here by myself as a former journalist who doesn't work in the mainstream media anymore saying shit like this. So for me, I'm like, oh man, I'm putting myself out there on the line saying this shit with no viewers. I've got one viewer, but I appreciate whoever you are. Anyways, fuck this bitch. We're moving on. What's our next topic? What did I even have on the agenda? We had the Save America Act. Awesome. More fantastic news. Let's talk about the Save America Act. Okay. I think Congress passed this. The House? It was the House. The House has been busy. The conversation. Why did I even pull this up? Did I just see an article and I was like, yeah, we'll run it. Whatever. Let's read. We'll zoom in. Citizenship voting requirement in Save America Act has no basis in the Constitution and ignores precedent that only states decide who gets to vote. Maybe it was the headline that caught my attention, because that's pretty strong. Published February 12th by John J. Martin, Assistant Professor of Law. He's right above my head, next to my head, at Quinnipiac University. I don't know where that's located. The Republican-led House of Representatives voted February 11th, 2026, to approve the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, or Save America Act. The bill would require individuals to provide proof of citizenship when they register to vote and present photo identification when they do vote in federal elections. This marks the third year in a row that the House has passed similar legislation. Passage in the Senate, which would require Democratic votes, continues to appear unlikely, but Republicans from President Donald Trump on down are clearly interested in finding ways to enhance election security, although critics contend the Save America Act would unfairly disenfranchise millions of citizens. I agree. The Save America Act would require anyone registering to vote in federal elections to first provide documentary proof of U.S. citizenship in person, such as a passport or birth certificate. The new version goes further than its predecessor by requiring many individuals voting in federal elections to present photo identification at the polls indicating proof of U.S. citizenship. Voting rights experts and advocacy organizations have detailed how the legislation could suppress voting. In part, they say it would particularly create barriers in low-income and minority communities. People in such communities often lack the forms of ID acceptable under the Save America Act for a variety of reasons, including socioeconomic factors. As of now, at least 9% of voting-age American citizens, approximately 21 million people, do not even have driver's licenses, let alone proof of citizenship. In spite of this, many legislators support the bill as a means of eliminating non-citizen voting in elections. As a legal scholar who studies, among other things, foreign interference in elections, I find considerations about the potential effects of the Save America Act important, especially given how rare it is that a non-citizen actually votes in federal elections. It's largely, what's the word I'm looking for? Uncommon is not the right word. I hate it when I struggle to find, like, the right synonym for the shit I'm trying to say. It's undocumented. That's not the right word. That also sounds like deportations of undocumented. But it is. Like, it's largely undocumented that people show up to vote illegally, as it were. We'll just move on. The Save America Act would forbid state election officials from registering an individual to vote in federal elections unless this person provides proof of United States citizenship. This is shit that we already do. Furthermore, it would forbid individuals from voting unless they bring proof to the polls each time they vote, unless their state agrees to submit voter registration lists to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security on a quarterly basis. Acceptable forms of proof for... Sorry, give me just a moment. I need to put, need to update the bug. Save America Act. There we go. All right. Acceptable forms of proof would include a real ID that demonstrates U.S. citizenship, most of which do not, as well as U.S. passport or a U.S. military identification card. Yeah, so you can't take like your driver's license, your ID. You need a real ID. I don't know how many people have real IDs. I don't think I have one. I have a passport. And then, I mean, how many people are in the military? Most people, I won't say most, but I think a good portion of the U.S. population would not be able to even meet this standard set by the Act. Should the Save America Act become law, if a person turns 18 or moves between states and wishes to register to vote in federal elections in their new home, they would likely be turned away if they do not have any such documents readily available. At best, they could still fill out a registration form, but they would need to mail in acceptable proof of citizenship. For married people with changed last names, among others, questions remain about whether birth certificates could even count as acceptable proof of citizenship for them. Yeah, because they don't have the same last name anymore. Despite the national conversation the Save America Act has sparked, it is unclear whether Congress even has the power to enact it. This is the key constitutional question. The U.S. Constitution imposes no citizenship requirement when it comes to voting. The original text of the Constitution, in fact, said very little about the right to vote. It was not until legislators passed subsequent amendments, starting after the Civil War up through the 1970s, that the Constitution even explicitly prohibited voting laws that discriminate on account of race, sex, or age. 19 states historically let some non-citizens vote in federal elections. Yeah. I'm learning stuff that I never knew. Can we get... Oh, BBC, why the fuck are you... Damn it. Fuck the BBC. Let's watch some videos. I don't need to read all that. ABC, what do you got for me?
The House has officially passed the GOP's Save America Act. The act would require government-mandated proof of citizenship, such as passports or birth certificates, to register to vote. It would also require states to remove non-citizens from existing voter rolls. Supporters of the bill say it would protect election integrity and crack down on non-citizen voting, while opponents argue the bill would make registering harder for millions of voters. So the Constitution already prohibits non-citizens from voting in federal and state elections, and state election boards say instances of non-citizen voting are rare. The bill now heads over to the Senate, where it faces a potential filibuster from the Democrats. So let's bring in ABC News legal contributor James Sample for more on this. So, James.
Generally, and my gut reaction and how I've always felt about like voter ID is that it will be largely difficult for minorities to get voter ID. It makes voting in general more difficult, and the people who have the disposable income to vote will be able to make it through the system, while people who do not have the ability to just spend so much of their day going through the hurdles that it takes to like vote. There is a very clear economic bracket that like will be affected by this act.
James, your thoughts on this bill?
Perry, you laid it out very well. This is a bill that would dramatically change the role of the federal government in the administration of federal elections. Even though federal elections are, by definition, for federal office, they are administered primarily at the state level, and that is a function of Article 1, Section 4 of the Constitution, which the framers of the Constitution made very clear gives the states the primary responsibility for administering elections and gives the federal government only a small backup role. But this would dramatically shift that.
There's also the argument of like federal versus states' rights. It's very strange in 2026 that this kind of conversation is coming up again about like states' rights, because I think, at least for me, the moment that states' rights started to kind of come up again. It wasn't whether or not you could have slaves or shit like that, but more like when Trump was deploying the National Guard, when he deployed it to LA, when he started, I think, was it Portland or something? It was like last year that he was like, I'm going to take control of states' different militias and shit and control them. And it's like, holy shit. States also have the right to like have their own military apparatuses. Not everything is under the jurisdiction of the federal government. And we're seeing this kind of come up more and more and more, that the federal government is overreaching is trying to further its reach and influence. This is just another example of that.
If it were to become law, and it would, most importantly and most immediately, pose significant barriers for individuals, many individuals who are already U.S. citizens, who've in many cases voted many times properly, because they would have to obtain not just identification, but identification that in many instances would require them to show a passport or a birth certificate establishing U.S. citizenship. Now, for many Americans, most Americans even, that is not a significant hardship. But for a significant percentage of Americans, that would be a hardship that would prevent them from voting. Numbers are estimated around 21 million. The question becomes, is that cost, disenfranchising at least a significant fraction of 21 million Americans, worth the benefit of preventing non-citizens from voting, when we know from study after study that there are only a small, and we're talking single digits per election year, number of non-citizens who actually cast a vote?
So it seems like that these are some...
Truthfully, I have to ask myself, like, what voter base will this affect the most? Left-leaning versus right-leaning, liberal versus conservative? Because he said 21 million, and when you think of like the U.S. population as a whole, it's not very large. But then you think of like how many actual people turn out to vote. Not just with the midterms. Obviously, in the midterms, it's even less than a general election. But considering the general election, if there was a third candidate that would receive a vote in the presidential election, by default, if you didn't submit a vote, that candidate would always be elected to the office of the presidency. That's not how our election system works. If you don't vote, then that's just not a vote not made or submitted. So 21 million is a significant number that either Democrats or Republicans could be receiving in an election. And genuinely, I have to wonder, like, associating the economic brackets, because it will affect the lowest economic bracket. Who would that affect more? I'm not going to answer that question, but yeah. No, I can't speak to it, honestly. It's hard to get a sense, at least for myself. I am questioning. Oh, I guess I'll have to read into it. Moving on.
Major impacts this bill could have on voters.
Oh, there's no doubt that if this bill were to pass through the Senate...
I guess what I'll say is it would impact a large portion of the uneducated white population. And that's a very... I feel like that's a very big population.
To be clear, I think that's unlikely at the moment, but if the majority leader in the Senate, John Thune, elects to do away with the filibuster, then this bill could, that was the so-called nuclear option, then this bill would pass the Senate and it would go to the president and it would have a dramatic impact, and it would be an immediate impact in the 2026 midterms. There would be, in many instances, chaos because the transition period, we think about November as being a long way away. From the standpoint of election administration, it's effectively tomorrow.
Yeah.
This would be an upheaval of historic proportion.
So if this bill does become law, what kind of legal challenges could we see?
You will see legal challenges from the states who will argue that this is a violation of that constitutional provision that I referenced before, Article 1, Section 4, saying that they have the primary responsibility to cover the time, place, and manner. That's the language in the Constitution. They would also argue the 10th Amendment, that this is an intrusion on federalism. And what's fascinating is that this is a bit of a juxtaposition. Normally, it is Democrats in Congress trying to pass legislation that prevents discriminatory practices, such as passing the Voting Rights Act in federal elections. This would be a significant shift. There would also be challenges from individual voters who would face the possibility of being disenfranchised.
And then Republicans are introducing another bill, the Make Elections Great Again Act. It would ban universal mail-in voting, among other restrictions. How would these proposals change federal involvement in elections?
Well, first, I think it's worth the two of us acknowledging the clever naming devices of all of these bills. I mean, Americans for Apple Pie sounds very good, but Make Elections Great Again, that act is actually more severe, more extreme than the Save America Act is, in the sense that it would mandate that states undertake monthly purges of their voter rolls. And the problem with that, it sounds innocuous on its face, but one thing that we have learned in study after study is that databases of names are rife with errors, and the matching problem, somebody uses a middle initial, somebody uses a married name, a maiden name, these things are very difficult, and it would cause chaos for sure.
James Sample, thank you.
Yeah. I want to watch a few more on this topic, and then we'll move on. I'm finding myself getting tired. We've already been going for 2 hours. I still have plenty that we want to talk about, but for a moment there, I was like, what? I think this is disastrous. This will truly affect just the American public's ability to have democratic elections. The people with the means to do so will have the means to do so and will continue to vote how they always have. But those of us who have less will have less ability and resources to vote, and that is undemocratic in its nature.
Voted today to pass nation's capital. The GOP-led House voted today to pass the Save America Act, the sweeping election bill championed by President Trump. The vote was 218 to 213, with all but one Democrat voting against the measure. If passed by the Senate and signed by Trump, the bill would require proof of citizenship to register to vote, as well as identification at the ballot box. Democrats argue that this is a non-issue since it's already illegal for non-citizens to vote. House Speaker Mike Johnson, meanwhile, claims that anyone who opposes the measure wants to undermine democracy.
And the only people that oppose it are people who want to cheat our system, who want to participate in our elections.
A lot of this is just people who don't understand the existing process, and rather than go, oh, good question, and here's how that problem is handled, we just attack each other. Yes, everything is just a culture war. Conservatives, Republicans don't have any policies. They just want to own the libs. And that's why everything happens at all. Except for the one asterisk that's been happening over like just the last few months. It's also we will protect Epstein and all of his co-conspirators. That is our one platform, but we won't tell you that one.
Illegally, unlawfully. And that's not fair to the American people.
The measure now heads to the U.S. Senate, where it is unlikely to gain the Democratic support needed to pass the chamber's 60-vote threshold.
Awesome. We have on live now from Fox, Mike Johnson speaking after the House passes the Trump-backed voter ID bill. Let's listen to Mike Johnson.
Good evening, everybody. This is a very important night on the House floor. House Republicans tonight stood with the overwhelming majority of Americans who demand secure elections. Standing with me are some of the champions of this cause in the House and some of the leaders outside our chamber who've been working on this issue to ensure this integrity for quite some time.
Patriots.
This is a big achievement tonight. By voting for the Save America Act, House Republicans did exactly what the American people sent us here to do. It's promises made, promises kept. Ensuring the integrity of elections is an essential issue. It's essential to maintaining our constitutional republic, and everybody in this country seems to understand and agree to that. This is about a 90-10 issue in the polling, because all that we've done tonight in this simple piece of legislation,
I love pulling numbers out of my
apply
ass.
common sense. All the Save America Act does,
It's just common
is
sense.
It enhances the Save Act, which you've already passed twice before, which says that you have to have proof of citizenship before you register to vote in federal elections. The law already provides for that, but we need to ensure that it's enforced. And the second part of it, what we added tonight and what is part of the Save America Act is the second piece, the very common sense requirement that you have a photo ID if you're going to vote.
If that was the case, I could take my driver's license. That's not the case.
So that's it. That's what the bill does.
Is that it?
Citizenship.
Easy
and photo
peasy.
ID to vote.
Easy
Everyone in
peasy.
the country understands the necessity of that, understands how simple it is and how important it is. And the only people that oppose it are people who want to cheat our system, who want to participate in our elections.
Mike Johnson, you caught me. You caught me red-handed. I wanted to vote 5 times. I wanted to vote for myself. I wanted to vote for my cat. I wanted to vote for my 3 stuffed animals. Why can't I? I just feel like I should be able to. Nothing wrong with that.
Illegally, unlawfully. And that's not fair to the American people and the citizens of this country. And so we had only one House Democrat participate with us tonight. This has become a bitter partisan fight, and it's madness to us.
It's crazy. Why the fuck we wanted to gatekeep voting from brown-skinned people, from gays, from poor people. Truly, the Democrats don't get it. What don't they understand? We just want to give our best friends the opportunity to vote equally amongst each other without letting other people vote. What don't they understand?
We can't quite understand what the rationale is.
I don't get it.
Opposing a free and fair election, but they're going to have to explain this to the people. They're going to have a hard time doing that. Now, this bill having passed the House,
He's so fucking obnoxious is not the right word. He's on a high horse. For as short as this man is, he sure does ride a high horse.
now go to the Senate. And we are encouraging all of our Senate Republican colleagues who believe in this just as we do to try to get this thing through the system, to pass it there. And we're hoping that some Democrats in the Senate will come to their senses and do the right thing for the people. Otherwise, they got a lot of explaining to do, as we say down in the South.
You got some splaining to do. I wish my soundboard was more... I could do more. But you just have to kind of deal with my fucking crazy head.
This is something that is overdue. It's something that's common sense. It's something that comports with what the American people want. And there's really just one question that would linger over all this now. Will Senate Democrats continue to cater to their extreme left-wing base, or are they going to finally join the overwhelming majority of Americans on this common sense reform?
Not those darned leftists. Why do the Democrats keep caving to those darned gay, trans leftists, those Muslim-loving leftists? God, I'm going insane. Listening to... Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to be a little pissed off, a little angry. I can only give so much political commentary before I start losing my mind and joining the crazy circus that we exist in.
But I'll tell you this, once again, Republicans have demonstrated that we are the party of common sense. We are the party that's delivering exactly what the American people sent us here to do, and we will continue that. Got a lot of champions that you can hear from here shortly before we take a few questions, and I'm going to yield first to Chairman Brian Stile, who has worked really hard on this issue.
And I fully recognize that I am falling for the exact kind of kind of discourse that they want. This is the exact reaction that they want. They want me to go crazy. They want all of us to go, ah, and then entertain their stupidity and not like actually like dive into this and recognize what the what the strategy behind this kind of discourse is causing a smokescreen for, as it were. You know what I mean? And that smokescreen is, we want to stop minorities from being able to vote. We want poor people to stop being able to vote. We want to provide a smokescreen for the Epstein files. Pay attention to this instead of what we're doing in Israel and Palestine. Pay attention to this instead of what we're doing in South America and other countries that we're colonizing.
Right behind you, Mr.
Thank you,
Speaker.
sir.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. What an exciting day to have passed the Save America Act. Moving forward, two absolutely essential and important topics in election integrity. Making sure that it's only U.S. citizens who are voting in U.S. elections by ensuring that there's proof of citizenship at the time of registration. The other topic being photo identification. And as you watch the left push back against this, you realize how ridiculous their argument is. We were having a debate at committee on the topic of photo identification. I flew home to Wisconsin, went, grabbed a six-pack of beer. The clerk recognized me, said, "Hey, Brian, can I see your ID?" Said, "Sure." I opened up my wallet, handed my wallet, he checked it. He allowed me to buy a six-pack of beer.
Don't flatter yourself. Your wrinkly ass did not get ID'd.
I just think it's absolutely nuts that we protect our beer more than our ballots in
Jesus fuck.
jurisdictions across this country. The legislation today is a meaningful and real step forward in election integrity to make sure that it's only American citizens.
This guy's like, oh man, I could go for a beer. A beer sounds real good right now. I sure do love my beer.
Since we're voting, and that the people are who they say they are who come to the polls. So I appreciate the work of the leadership, our outside friends who are with us today, and it's my great pleasure to now yield to the author of the bill, my good friend, Chip Roy.
Chip Roy, he's a American patriot.
Only a man from Wisconsin being here talking about protecting his beer, right? It's like, look, and I'm for that, by the way. To be on the record, I'm
No,
for
we understood. We knew that you were like, oh, beer sounds good.
protecting your beer. Look, it is an honor to be here. I just think this is a great reflection of the team that is the Republican conference in the House and what we're doing to work together to deliver for the American people. They sent us here to do what we said we would do. It's a pretty simple task. The president talks about common sense. This piece of legislation is simple common sense. There's a reason that it is polling at astronomical levels, no matter which party you're in, no matter what race or background you have, whether you're urban or rural, whether you're black or white, Hispanic, whether you're male or female, it's polling at 80, 85, 90% across the country.
All right, let's contest it. Let's see if there's any kind of numbers to back up this this claim. Save America Act reaction poll? I don't know. I voted yes on the Save America. Daniel Webster, no. Adam Schiff confronted on polling, showing no. Voter integrity, the so-called Save America, LDF announces House passage. Tell Congress to oppose the Save Act suite of bills. This is actually going to be more difficult than I thought it was. At least in the time where we're streaming, I might not be able to just pull up some numbers regarding America's reaction to American reaction to Save America Act. I don't know. New Save Act bills will still block millions. Support voter ID. Support proof of. How about number of Americans number of Americans who want voter ID. Maybe that speaks a little bit more to thank you, White House. Do you see this? Hold on. Let me zoom in. The White House. Voter ID is overwhelmingly popular with literally everyone. I love your framing, the White House. I love your framing. Representative Gallup. Let's see. For election law policies, requiring all voters to provide photo ID. That's not the question, though, because what is it? A driver's license can act as a form of voter ID. Requiring people who are registering to vote for the first time to provide proof of citizenship. Yes, nothing wrong with that. Early voting, enacting automatic voter registration, whereby citizens are automatically registered to vote when they do business with the DMV. No, sending absentee ballot application to all eligible voters. Drop boxes, removing people from voter registration lists if they don't vote. That's based. From voter registration lists if they don't vote in any elections over a 5-year period. No, never mind. Take that back. This isn't exactly what I'm trying to get at. American support for election law policies. I feel like I've just gone off on a tangent. People who are registering to vote for the first time, requiring all voters to provide photo identification, removing people from voter registration lists. I'm doing a poor job.
Country. It's because it's common sense. The American people want a sovereign nation. They understand that voter ID is common sense to vote. They want only American citizens to vote in American elections, and this legislation does that. And the Save America Act is now headed to the Senate. And we certainly hope that the Senate will take it up in good faith, put it on the floor, and have a robust debate. Make the greatest deliberative body a great deliberative body again. Go to the floor of the Senate and take this up. I want to see people who want to oppose it go to the floor of the Senate and try to explain to the American people why they wouldn't support this common sense legislation. I want to...
Sorry, I think my cat just like hit something. Chunky. I couldn't tell if that was my cat or my roommate.
I want to thank the Speaker. I want to thank Chairman Stile. I want to thank all of the leadership team here. But I want to give a special shout out and thanks to the groups and all of my friends here, but particularly Cleta Mitchell, without whom we wouldn't have been able to get this drafted in the first place and get this bill across the finish line here in the House. So with all of that, I appreciate it, and I'll turn it over to our great leader, Steve Scalise.
Thank you, Chip. I appreciate your leadership and all the people up here, and especially those friends from the outside world that have been focusing on this for a long time. The House of Representatives, led by Republicans, came together tonight and said, we will protect the sanctity of your vote.
I feel like at this point, I'm just hearing more propaganda. I'm bored of this. I feel like we've covered this extensively at this point. Like, we're just listening to more of the same. All right, we're going to move on. Next topic. We covered the Pam Bondi hearing. We covered the Save America Act. Gavin Newsom or AI News or Discord. Discord is in the news as well. Part of me wants to talk about Gavin Newsom. Yeah. Okay. Boom. Boom. All right. So I've got AI. I've got Gavin Newsom, and we've got Discord. Okay. I've pulled up all this. So I heard about Gavin Newsom being back in the news and started seeing this really like all over Twitter. Because I think it truly was because Hassan had made some kind of comment here. Let's zoom in. When asked if he'd vote for Gavin Newsom or J.D. Vance for president, Hassan says he'd vote third party. This proves Hassan doesn't care about any of the marginalized groups he pretends to support. All he cares about is taking money from them so he can buy more outfits for stream.
Not to listen.
Let's react here.
For him. Disappointed in
Who do
Gavin
you vote
Newsom.
for, J.D. Vance or Gavin Newsom?
Well, I'd have to vote for Gavin Newsom,
Me
of course,
too.
100%.
I wouldn't blink.
There's no
What
doubt.
about you, Hassan?
I'd probably vote third party.
You would?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, at that point, it doesn't even matter. Like, because my policy on this is the same as like my refusal to endorse Kamala Harris. The reason why I did not endorse Kamala Harris was because she did things that were not only unproductive but also unconscionable. And I still stand on that. I still talk about it all the time because people constantly bring it up. They're like, you didn't sufficiently like promote Kamala Harris. You're the reason why she lost. And I'm like, I am incapable. There is no singular force in this country that is capable of making or breaking an election. And if that was real, then it is the most idiotic thing not to listen to my demands. But everybody knows that that's not real, right? If I had this singular force to be able to make Kamala Harris the president, then Kamala Harris should be coming to me every day and being like, let me do a collab with you, please.
Totally.
Right? That's not the case, of course, and they know it. That's why they didn't do it. But the campaigns are always responsible for whether or not they are able to win the crowds, win the population over, and combat against the couch. Not necessarily even against the Republican Party, but usually you're fighting against the couch, people who just don't go out and vote. And for me, the way I see it is if the Democratic establishment makes this decision one more time, just as they did with Hillary Clinton, just as they did with Kamala Harris, and in some ways just as they did with Joe Biden as well, which led to Trump too, then they just don't care. And there's not much I can do
Let me
beyond
tell you
that.
something. I agree with everything you say, but as a person who lived in a red state for 50 years, I would crawl through 10 feet of concrete to vote for Gavin Newsom, even though I think he's duplicitous, a hypocrite, a thirst trap, hungry for power, all of the things that you say, and harms the Democratic Party and sets the psychological soil to be more prey to fascism. All of that I agree with. But there are so many young, queer, black, brown, marginalized people in red states. And even though this corporate Democrat is, you see it in a long-term game. In the short-term game, a President Newsom over a President J.D. Vance.
Well, okay. I'm going to speak to her point and then kind of come back to kind of what Hassan was saying initially. I think the reason why she is saying that she would vote for a Democrat over a liberal, why she would vote for a Gavin Newsom over a J.D. Vance, is because, not because of what Gavin Newsom is himself, but rather what liberals are as a whole. And they are, they have no backbone whatsoever. They flow with the wind, however the culture happens to take them. If everyone is pro-trans rights, pro-gay rights, pro-abortion, they are pro-trans rights, gay rights, abortion, what have you. If the general voter base is not that, neither are they. And we've seen that. We've seen liberals as a general sentiment, as the population really started to lean into right-wing tendencies, so did liberals as a whole. As the population has been leaning back away from that because of all the controversies surrounding the Trump administration, woke has been coming back. And we've been seeing that kind of happening and being reflected by liberal politicians generally, you know. So the sentiment that, like, I would, that this woman, I don't remember her name, but what she is getting at about, like, I would rather have a liberal with no backbone in public office as opposed to a right-winger who stands by their prejudices, who stands by their bigotry, who I can't easily influence. I'd rather have a liberal in office. What I where I start to take question with this stance is the fact that someone like Kamala Harris, someone like Gavin Newsom, these two people in particular are historically contain a degree of backbone, but their backbone isn't actually all that decent. Both of them are indecent people who would like to cave to corporate interests, capitalist tendencies, are backers of the blue. I dislike the poor. Like, it's all just same old fucking Republican points. Kamala Harris tried to get Liz Cheney, or she had Liz Cheney backing her during the election cycle, you know. Gavin Newsom is cut from the same cloth as every other corporate elite member. I agree with Hassan in his point of saying, like, these aren't people of stature. They don't have a degree of relatability for the American public. So, yeah, no, in a situation where it's J.D. Vance versus fucking Gavin Newsom, I'm voting third party. I don't like either of these two candidates. And the fact that we are trying to get leftists, left-leaning people, liberals to fall into line to back the blue no matter who, it's the same situation that we continue to find ourselves in. The number one reason why Kamala Harris lost during the last election is because she aligned herself too much with Joe Biden and postured for enacting the same kind of policies that led to the genocide that we're seeing in Gaza. It was the number one reported reason people did not vote for Kamala Harris during the last election. And if we continue down this path of continuing to make our presidential nominees, if Democrats make their presidential nominees people of poor moral compass and beliefs, like, they will continue to lose. But they're not willing to accept that. It's one of the greatest flaws of the Democratic Party is, like, they put themselves on this high horse and talk down to the general public as if, like, you guys are willing to elect Republicans or willing to elect racists? And it's like, you're not really that much better. It's also preventing the primary process by preemptively endorsing a candidate. Yes, very true. I would like to see the wealth of options available to us before we just de facto vote someone in. And that was also a large reason why Kamala Harris lost. Is, like, there wasn't even a Democratic primary to choose someone to... when Joe Biden became incompetent, there was no selection process for who would be the de facto Democratic nominee to face Trump. Instead, we just defaulted to Kamala Harris. Thank you. I've got a lot to say, and I hope that was all cohesive. Adam Media, dear Democrats, make a Zionist your candidate and you will lose again. Here is Isaac Herzog. Thank you, Governor of California, Gavin Newsom, for your visit of solidarity to Israel. We will never forget our friends who stood by Israel in our most difficult times. And then AIPAC. Thank you, Gavin Newsom, for visiting Israel and standing shoulder to shoulder with our ally. Wasn't Gavin Newsom just on some, like, podcast and he was questioned, like, you were funded by AIPAC? Hold on. AIPAC. And he had nothing to say. He had, like, no response. I think he said, oh, that's interesting. Is it this one? This looks like it's from 4 months ago.
California Naturals.
Goodness gracious. Oh, okay. So this is 4 months ago.
Takes $1 from AIPAC. It's interesting. I mean, I will not vote for a candidate that takes $1 from AIPAC. It's interesting. I mean, it's interesting. I haven't thought about AIPAC, and it's interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC in years.
Yeah. Where is that moment here? We can probably look at the. Here's the most replayed moment, probably.
as a father. See, I'm sitting here. That said, I've been higher. There's one when the precipice of a phase 1 deal that was announced today and a ceasefire.
Even if this is over,
but I get it.
Yeah.
So look, no, I'm not prepared to say that I would support a blanket exemption for military support of Israel. That said, I've been very vocal in my opposition to Bibi Netanyahu. Said he doubled down on stupid on Meet the Press like a year ago. I'm sitting here on your behalf, you're a taxpayer, as the only governor in the United States that sent a field hospital to Gaza and got it in through a third-party country and is disgusted by what's happened in Gaza as a human being, as a father, see these children and how this war has been perpetuated by Bibi Netanyahu. I also have deep respect for the right of the state of Israel to exist and defend itself.
Boo.
Okay, he seems.
How did we go back that far?
Offensive, if you ask me. And look, Lathan did follow up with a pretty good point. So if Newsom hates Netanyahu so much, then why would he want to, like, why wouldn't he want to stop sending Netanyahu money?
And how this war has been perpetuated by Bibi Netanyahu. I also have deep.
You're going to be asked about Newsom.
There we go. I think this is the actual point in the interview where he like calls everything interesting.
I will not vote for a candidate that takes $1 from AIPAC.
It's interesting. I mean, it's interesting. I haven't thought about AIPAC, and it's interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting. Why did I say that? Not relevant to my day-to-day life.
Okay.
It's absolutely relevant. If you are funded by AIPAC, that gives you the power to do what you do. It's absolutely relevant.
Which is just interesting. Listen, it's interesting you say that. JPAC perhaps more, but AIPAC less and less.
Okay, fair enough.
Which is just interesting.
What's interesting about it?
That it's just interesting as you bring up AIPAC that it hasn't been part of. I'm just reflecting quite openly and honestly.
I took the money and then I stopped thinking about it. Anyways. No, I have absolutely no confidence in Gavin Newsom as a potential candidate for any federal office. What I like about Gavin Newsom is that he's a piece of shit, but he's also claiming to be on the Democratic team. So whenever some fuck-ass shit starts happening in the White House from Donald Trump, Gavin Newsom is like, oh, this is me. I throw the wrench into the thing, and it makes everyone pissed off. And everyone's like, yeah, piss him off. Piss off Donald Trump. Piss off Republicans. And that's when we're like, yeah. But then as soon as it's like, okay, we're going to talk about you as a person, Gavin. There's very little to like about you. He's like, I don't know why. I don't know why you would think there's nothing to like about me. I piss people off. It's the best aspect about me. If that makes sense. So, yeah, I wanted to touch on that. I saw that just kind of Gavin Newsom was trending in the Twitter space, and I, unfortunately, am chronically on Twitter, and so I wanted to talk about it. To what you said earlier in the chat, he sounds like RFK Jr., yeah, maybe in that moment. I don't typically listen to Gavin Newsom very often, but he did have a bit of a crackly voice there. No, it's way too early. It is February of 2026. The general election isn't for another 3 years. Demanding that the Democratic kind of voter base get in line behind Gavin Newsom, I find absolutely insane. It is. We are so far out from even kind of considering the next election. It would demand that some kind of crazy shit happen in the White House at the moment to even start thinking about Democratic leadership. Because even if in a situation where Trump is impeached, I'm pretty sure J.D. Vance would then just take over the office of the presidency, and then we would have at least someone whose prefrontal cortex isn't molding at the moment, in office, and that's probably even scarier than having Mr. Lame Duck, Donald Duck, in office. Yeah, those are my thoughts. Now, are there good alternatives to Gavin Newsom? I can't really think of any off the top of my head who could contest him when the time does come around. That candidate hasn't presented themselves to me. But it's possible. Zoran Mamdani, mayor of New York City, God bless, is having the best side quest of the American... what is the word I'm saying? Like, it is a good time to be a New Yorker, is what I will say. The side quest that is happening there, the New Yorkers are getting to enjoy, seems to be wonderful. And Zoran came out of nowhere within a matter of a year's time, quite successfully. And so that instills a degree of optimism in me. It might be misplaced, but I refuse to give in to doomerism. Probably foolishly, but we'll leave it at that. Awesome. Yay. Wow. All right, moving on. It is so late. It is 9:30. We're going to move on from that, and we're going to probably talk about our last topic of the night. We're going to talk about AI. Wow, we love AI. I don't think we're going to talk about Discord tonight. Discord seems to be on their fuck shit. I don't expect Discord to stick around for a very long period of time, unless they like dramatically dial back everything they've said. But their new CEO, from my understanding, is Israeli, which is awesome. I so much love Israeli tech gurus and whatnot taking control of our social media platforms and instilling a surveillance state. That's all I'll say about Discord. We're going to talk about AI. There was an article that was going around yesterday. I saw. It was probably one of the first things I read yesterday morning. It was posted on Twitter. It was published on Fortune by Matt Schumer. It was quite alarming. Is this? No, it's over here. Oh my goodness. So many chats all coming up at the same time. Weird. I don't know why the chat is glitching like that. I guess we'll just read it. Obviously, I think if we checked the... if we checked this article to see if it was published by AI, it very likely was. It's very cohesive. It's very well written. Too well written for our current times, honestly. I feel like no one writes this well. It's very, very good. So bear that in mind, that this article about AI was likely written by Matt Schumer with the assistance of AI. Where does it start? Okay. Think back to February 2020. I want to listen to the article. I'm not going to bother reading it myself.
Something big is happening in AI, and most people will be blindsided. Think back to February 2020. A few people were talking about a virus spreading overseas. If someone told you they were stockpiling toilet paper, you would have thought they'd been spending too much time on a weird corner of the internet. Then, over the course of about 3 weeks, the entire world changed.
Okay, yeah, that's my start and stop button. Forgive me.
I think we're in the this seems overblown phase of something much bigger than COVID. I've spent 6 years building an AI startup and investing in the space. I live in this world, and I'm writing this for the people in my life who don't. I keep giving them the polite cocktail party version, because the honest version sounds like I've lost my mind. But the gap between what I've been saying and what is actually happening has gotten far too big. The people I care about deserve to hear what is coming, even if it sounds crazy. I should be clear about something up front. Even though I work in AI, I have almost no influence over what's about to happen, and neither does the vast majority of the industry. The future is being shaped by a remarkably small number of people. A few hundred researchers at a handful of companies, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google DeepMind, and a few others. Most of us who work in AI are building on top of foundations we didn't lay. We're watching this unfold the same as you. We just happen to be close enough to feel the ground shake first. But it's time now. Not in an eventually we should talk about this way. In a this is happening right now, and I need you to understand it way.
Okay.
I know this is real because
Shut up. So quickly to talk about that first part, and I need you to understand that the way that this article is written is very alarmist. When I first read this, I was like, this is fucking crazy. I got exposed to this article by Mehdi Hassan first, posting it on Twitter and being like, this is the fucking craziest thing you'll read ever. And I was like, what the fuck is Mehdi Hassan saying that is making this the craziest thing ever? And then I read it and I was like, this is the fucking craziest thing ever. It is structured to be that way, okay? And because it was written by an AI, I can imagine that when this AI was prompted to write this, or when the author was trying to brainstorm how to structure this, I can imagine at a certain point that he wanted this to sound alarmist, because at the very end of the article, it does have a call to action of sorts. And I think reading something that kind of alarming and structuring it in that way naturally would lead people to be like, what are we going to do? So please breathe as we go through this. The beginning of the article feels like it was intentionally structured to kind of sound alarmist. And there's a lot here that is valid, and I do consider that to be the case, but let's take it with a grain of salt. Also, I forgot to update the topic. AI article. No. AI developments and we'll just do that. Developments. Okay, continuing on.
Happened to me first. Here's the thing. Nobody outside of tech quite understands yet. We're not making predictions. We're telling you what already occurred in our own jobs and warning you that you're next. For years, AI had been improving steadily. Then in 2025, new techniques for building these models unlocked a much faster pace of progress. This year, something clicked. Not like a light switch, more like the moment you realize the water has been rising around you and is now at your chest. I am no longer needed for the actual technical work of my job. I describe what I want built, in plain English, and it just appears. Not a rough draft I need to fix. The finished thing. I tell the AI what I want, walk away from my computer for 4 hours, and come back to find the work done. Done well? Done better than I would have done it myself, with no corrections needed. A couple of months ago, I was going back and forth with the AI, guiding it, making edits. Now I just describe the outcome and leave. Let me give you an example so you can understand what this actually looks like in practice. I'll tell the AI, I want to build this app. Here's what it should do. Here's roughly what it should look like. Figure out the user flow, the design, all of it. And it does. It writes tens of thousands of lines of code. Then, and this is the part that would have been unthinkable a year ago, it opens the app itself. It clicks through the buttons. It tests the features. It uses the app the way a person would. If it doesn't like how something looks or feels, it goes back and changes it on its own. It iterates, like a developer would, fixing and refining until it's satisfied. Only once it has decided the app meets its own standards does it come back to me and say, it's ready for you to test. And when I test it, it's usually perfect. I'm not exaggerating. That is what my Monday looked like this week. I've always been early to adopt AI tools, but the last few months have shocked me. These new AI models aren't incremental improvements. This is a different thing entirely. The experience that tech workers have had over the past year of watching AI go from helpful tool to does my job better than I do is the experience everyone else is about to have. Law, finance, medicine, accounting, consulting, writing, design, analysis, customer service. Not in 10 years. The people building these systems say 1 to 5 years. Some say less. The market was spooked enough this month that it wiped out $1 trillion worth of software value in just a week. And given what I've seen in just the last couple of months, I see more disruption and soon.
Yeah. Let's take a look at this section really quick. I'm not surprised that this is happening. When we just kind of look at a big picture, look at just kind of the developments of technology over the last, let's say, 40, 50 years, we have experienced a progress unlike anything that has happened in human history. It has not been a linear boom. It truly feels as if it has been what is it? Parabolic? Not parabola. What is... You get what I'm saying. And the idea that AI is now capable of not just getting detailed descriptions, but rather vague goals, and then it's able to accomplish simply with just direction is... it's shocking to hear, but honestly no longer surprising to me. But it is alarming. Because, well, he'll dive into it a little bit more as well soon, but he's alluding to the idea that, like, this has been shocking in, like, the tech sector, and has yet to have a substantial impact on other industries. But likely will very soon. Well, let's just keep going.
But I tried AI, and it wasn't that good. If you tried ChatGPT in 2023 or early 2024 and thought, this makes stuff up or this isn't that impressive, you were right. Those early versions were genuinely limited. They hallucinated. They confidently said things that were nonsense. The models available today are unrecognizable from what existed even 6 months ago. The debate about whether AI is really getting better or hitting a wall, which has been going on for over a year, is over. It's done. Anyone still making that argument either hasn't used the current models, has an incentive to downplay what's happening, or is evaluating based on an experience from 2024 that is no longer relevant. I don't say that to be dismissive. I say it because the gap between public perception and current reality is now enormous. And that gap is dangerous because it's preventing people from preparing. Part of the problem is that most people are using the free version of AI tools. The free version is over a year behind what paying users have access to. Judging AI based on free tier ChatGPT is like evaluating the state of smartphones by using a flip phone. The people paying for the best tools and actually using them daily for real work know what's coming. I think of my friend who's a lawyer. I keep telling him to try using AI at his firm, and he keeps finding reasons it won't work, and I get it. But I've had partners at major law firms reach out to me for advice because they've tried the current versions and they see where this is going. One of them, the managing partner at a large firm, spends hours every day using AI. He told me it's like having a team of associates available instantly. He's not using it because it's a toy. He's using it because it works. And he told me something that stuck with me. Every couple of months, it gets significantly more capable for his work. He said if it stays on this trajectory, he expects it'll be able to do most of what he does before long. And he's a managing partner with decades of experience. He's not panicking, but he's paying very close attention. Think about what that means for your work. What this means.
I do want to, again, highlight, like, I feel as if that this article was structured to be alarmist. And it continues to kind of have that tone of, like, there's quiet rumblings in the ground, and soon it will all just burst. Okay, I want to dial it back. Remind you that that's intentional.
For your job. I'm going to be direct with you because I think you deserve honesty more than comfort. Dario Amodei, who's probably the most safety-focused CEO in the AI industry, has publicly predicted that AI will eliminate 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs within 1 to 5 years, and many people in the industry think he's being conservative. Given what the latest models can do, the capability for massive disruption could be here by the end of this year. It'll take some time to ripple through the economy, but the underlying ability is arriving now. This is different from every previous wave of automation, and I need you to understand why. AI isn't replacing one specific skill. It's a general substitute for cognitive work. It gets better at everything simultaneously. When factories automated, a displaced worker could retrain as an office worker. When the internet disrupted retail, workers moved into logistics or services. But AI doesn't leave a convenient gap to move into. Whatever you retrain for, it's improving at that too. I think the honest answer is that nothing that can be done on a computer is safe in the medium term. If your job happens on a screen, if the core of what you do is reading, writing, analyzing, deciding, communicating through a keyboard, then AI is coming for significant parts of it. The timeline isn't someday. It's already started. Eventually, robots will handle physical work too. They're not quite there yet. But not quite there yet in AI terms has a way of becoming here faster than anyone expects.
All right, this is where I will interject into this article. Okay, covering everything that was stated in the first half of this article. This is quite alarming. There is valid reason to be like, what the fuck? This is insane. We're talking about a restructuring of labor unlike the likes of anything that's ever happened in history. The prospect of continued capitalism in the world as it exists is at threat. But we're not going to communism where everyone enjoys the spoils of everybody else's labor. We're talking about the robot overtaking, you know. Please don't stoop to that. Like, don't become overwhelmed. Don't do it. It's alarming, and I think there is valid concern here. Okay, I think it's impossible to make the claim that AI will one day be entirely eliminated and will exit the public consciousness. I don't think that's a reality we exist in anymore. However, I do think it is possible for us to put implementations in place that limit the capabilities or roles that AI may fill, depending on what our political prospects look like in the future, in the near future, and so on and so forth. Not to poop on the party or anything. I think he's heavily overhyping what AI is capable of, and it really is kind of structured alarmist when he says hold on, sorry, let me go back down. When he says eventually robots will handle physical work too, it's like, not only he's making this argument like it is crazy for the space of, like, was it conscious labor, cognitive work. It's a general substitute for cognitive work. Everyone will be stupid. Everyone will be dumbed down. Cognitive decisions won't be made anymore. Not only that, though, I bet one day the robots will take over the blue-collar force as well. So even if you were considering of becoming a construction worker as your backup to AI, the robots will take it over too. The robots are invading the border. They're invading the border. Oh, breathe with me, okay? I don't think that's the case. I think it's definitely important to take this with a grain of salt and be like, whoa, can AI just do everything? You know what I mean? From here on out, and that's why I paused, because this is his like call to action. Like, what should we do? What are we gonna do about this? He's like, you know what, guys, you should start investing in AI. You should invest in AI. If it's gonna take over, we might as well be prepared to know how to utilize it and take advantage of it. And that's where this article truly just kind of falls apart. It's like, oh, okay. You clearly have some kind of interest in these in AI. You're really hyping up its strengths and capabilities, and calling it almost apocalyptic in terms of its capabilities. And then in your second breath, you're telling us we should really invest in it. AI brings up a very interesting discussion about just kind of like what it means to be human. Because we haven't seen AI being utilized to do like efficient shit. Like, in some capacity, yes, like AI can detect breast cancer and help doctors detect breast cancer. But then you have AI just generating literature, art, music, all the stuff that like a lot of people will point to and be like, this is what it means to be human. And I think as a result of that, that's going to really, like, just the continued development of AI is pissing off a lot of people and making them have existential crises. Like we have whole AI religions now. People falling for the cult of techno-theocracy. And again, we live in crazy times. A lot of people are pissed off. I could easily see people committing acts of eco-terrorism trying to stop the development of AI. I'm not saying it will happen. It's very unlikely it will. But like, I feel like something's going to give. I don't think people are programmed to be able to really accept dramatic forms of change, like what this article is proposing. So I don't know. I feel like this is going to be like, if AI continues to exist, any changes it has in our life will be a lot slower than what he is proposing. And it is with all of that commentary that I've just kind of said that we will finish this article.
What you should actually do. I'm not writing this to make you feel helpless. I'm writing this because I think the single biggest advantage you can have right now is simply being early. Early to understand it. Early to use it. Early to adapt. Start using AI seriously, not just as a search engine. Sign up for the paid version of Claude or ChatGPT. It's $20 a month.
I would not.
But two things matter right away. First, make sure you're using the best model available, not just the default. These apps often default to a faster, dumber model. Dig into the settings or the model picker and select the most capable option. Right now, that's GPT 5.2 on ChatGPT or Claude Opus 4.6 on Claude, but it changes every couple of months. If you want to stay current on which model is best at any given time, you can follow me on X, Matt Schumercore. I test every major release and share what's actually worth using. Second, and more important, don't just ask it quick questions. That's the mistake most people make. They treat it like Google and then wonder what the fuss is about. Instead, push it into your actual work. If you're a lawyer, feed it a contract and ask it to find every clause that could hurt your client. If you're in finance, give it a messy spreadsheet and ask it to build the model. If you're a manager, paste in your team's quarterly data and ask it to find the story. The people who are getting ahead aren't using AI casually. They're actively looking for ways to automate parts of their job that used to take hours. Start with the thing you spend the most time on and see what happens. And don't assume it can't do something just because it seems too hard. Try it. If you're a lawyer, don't just use it for quick research questions. Give it an entire contract and ask it to draft a counterproposal. If you're an accountant, don't just ask it to explain a tax rule. Give it a client's full return and see what it finds. The first attempt might not be perfect. That's fine. Iterate. Rephrase what you asked. Give it more context. Try again. You might be shocked at what works. And here's the thing to remember. If it even kind of works today, you can be almost certain that in 6 months, it'll do it near perfectly. The trajectory only goes one direction. This might be the most important year of your career. Work accordingly. I don't say that to stress you out. I say it because right now, there is a brief window where most people at most companies are still ignoring this. The person who walks into a meeting and says, "I used AI to do this analysis in an hour instead of 3 days," is going to be the most valuable person in the room. Not eventually. Right now. Learn these tools. Get proficient. Demonstrate what's possible. If you're early enough, this is how you move up. By being the person who understands what's coming and can show others how to navigate it. That window won't stay open long. Once everyone figures it out, the advantage disappears. Have no ego about it. The managing partner at that law firm isn't too proud to spend hours a day with AI. He's doing it specifically because he's senior enough to understand what's at stake. The people who will struggle most are the ones who refuse to engage, the ones who dismiss it as a fad, who feel that using AI diminishes their expertise, who assume their field is special and immune. It's not. No field is. Get your financial house in order. I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not trying to scare you into anything drastic. But if you believe, even partially, that the next few years could bring real disruption to your industry, then basic financial resilience matters more than it did a year ago. Build up savings if you can. Be cautious about taking on new debt that assumes your current income is guaranteed. Think about whether your fixed expenses give you flexibility or lock you in. Give yourself options if things move faster than you expect.
I will say that that part of the article, the second half of the article, is the only part of the article that I would say is good advice, but not for the reasons that he's listed before, and we'll talk about that later.
Think about where you stand.
We'll come back to it.
And lean into what's hardest to replace. Some things will take longer for AI to displace. Relationships and trust built over years. Work that requires physical presence. Roles with licensed accountability. Roles where someone still has to sign off, take legal responsibility, stand in a courtroom. Industries with heavy regulatory hurdles, where adoption will be slowed by compliance, liability, and institutional inertia. None of these are permanent shields, but they buy time. And time, right now, is the most valuable thing you can have, as long as you use it to adapt, not to pretend this isn't happening. Rethink what you're telling your kids. The standard playbook: get good grades, go to a good college, land a stable professional job. It points directly at the roles that are most exposed. I'm not saying education doesn't matter, but the thing that will matter most for the next generation is learning how to work with these tools and pursuing things they're genuinely passionate about. Nobody knows exactly what the job market looks like in 10 years, but the people most likely to thrive are the ones who are deeply curious, adaptable, and effective at using AI to do things they actually care about. Teach your kids to be builders and learners, not to optimize for a career path that might not exist by the time they graduate. Your dreams just got a lot closer. I've spent most of this section talking about threats, so let me talk about the other side, because it's just as real. If you've ever wanted to build something but didn't have the technical skills or the money to hire someone, that barrier is largely gone. You can describe an app to AI and have a working version in an hour.
Boo. This one I particularly dislike. Boo.
I'm not exaggerating. I do this regularly. If you've always wanted to write a book but couldn't find the time or struggled with the writing, you can work with AI to get it done.
Boo.
Want to learn a new skill? The best tutor in the world is now available to anyone for $20 a month. One that's infinitely patient, available 24/7, and can explain anything at whatever level you need. Knowledge is essentially free now. The tools to build things are extremely cheap now. Whatever you've been putting off because it felt too hard or too expensive or too far outside your expertise, try it. Pursue the things you're passionate about. You never know where they'll lead. And in a world where the old career paths are getting disrupted, the person who spent a year building something they love might end up better positioned than the person who spent that year clinging to a job description. Build the habit of adapting. This is maybe the most important one. The specific tools don't matter as much as the muscle of learning new ones quickly. AI is going to keep changing and fast. The models that exist today will be obsolete in a year. The workflows people build now will need to be rebuilt. The people who come out of this well won't be the ones who mastered one tool. They'll be the ones who got comfortable with the pace of change itself. Make a habit of experimenting. Try new things even when the current thing is working. Get comfortable being a beginner repeatedly. That adaptability is the closest thing to a durable advantage that exists right now. Here's a simple commitment that will put you ahead of almost everyone. Spend 1 hour a day experimenting with AI. Not passively reading about it, using it. Every day, try to get it to do something new, something you haven't tried before, something you're not sure it can handle. Try a new tool. Give it a harder problem, 1 hour a day, every day. If you do this for the next 6 months, you will understand what's coming better than 99% of the people around you. That's not an exaggeration. Almost nobody is doing this right now. The bar is on the floor.
Boo. We'll let it finish.
What? I know the next 2 to 5 years are going to be disorienting in ways most people aren't prepared for. This is already happening in my world. It's coming to yours. I know the people who will come out of this best are the ones who start engaging now. Not with fear, but with curiosity and a sense of urgency. We're past the point where this is an interesting dinner conversation about the future. The future is already here. It just hasn't knocked on your door yet. It's about to. If this resonated with you, share it with someone in your life who should be thinking about this.
All right. Blah, 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 blah. Genuinely alarming things. I don't know if it was mentioned in this article, but where is it? The newest model for ChatGPT or whatever helped build itself. What is it? This one? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. This article that I'm looking at was a response to this one. I'm trying to recall if I read it or if I heard it, but like there was a new AI model that was integral in help building itself. The early models evaluated what had been made for itself, and then it gave notes to the developers about what it disliked about itself. So we have reached the point where an AI model is capable of iterating on itself, which is crazy. It is fast approaching, for me, like the idea of the singularity occurring, and that is an idea in fiction that is quite terrifying. I think this shit is fucking crazy, and there is a lot of cause for alarm. However, I just don't believe that people and humans are willing enough to allow for dramatic structural change to occur in their life without someone freaking out and doing some, like, blowing up the facility or something like that. You know what I mean? And we have spent the last 3 hours talking about crazy shit. This may not have been the best decision for us to end on this topic, because I'm already like, God, the world is going to shit. The robots will take over. I'm also not saying that, you know. I warned you. I'm trying to tell myself, like fuck, to fucking dial it back. Especially, like, you get the sense at the very end when he's like talking about, so what should we do? Invest in AI, obviously. It's like, oh, okay, you're very unserious about even understanding. If you're presenting a problem or presenting it as a problem, the solution would not be to invest in the very issue itself. You know what I mean? I don't think truly we should be utilizing AI more as a search engine. I don't think just by playing with the AI you will be able to get a sense of, like, oh, I know how this works. Obviously, like, I've played with it, so I know the inner workings of it. I know how a fucking watch, what a watch does, but by no means do I understand how a watch functions and what makes it spin. And this is AI we're talking about, so no, I think this is genuinely unserious. We're aware that feeding generative models and engaging with generative models help feed it for further iterations. So would us engaging with an AI actually really help anything except not accelerate what an AI is capable of? If we're talking about how we're talking about a mass restructuring of how the workforce works, I don't think you should be bringing it into the workforce. But I would say, and the reason why I think that this paragraph in particular is valid is because of how integrated AI is into America's GDP. The American economic prospects, just the way that the economy is kind of moving, it is choking, it is gasping for air, our economy. And I think that people want AI to succeed so that the economy doesn't fucking tank. I think it's inevitable that the economy is going to tank, but especially if AI tanks. We have so much money invested in NVIDIA, in Facebook, in Google, and everyone else that does business with them. The moment that everyone collectively realizes, oh, all of the investments we put into AI aren't going to actually bring us any kind of revenue, will be the day that the economy fucking tanks. And so, yeah, if I could recommend anything, is to truly start preparing for what will be a historic economic failure, the likes of which we haven't seen in probably several generations. I don't know. I can't speak to what the 1930s were like. I don't think anyone who is even alive could speak to what the 1930s were like. Because even if you were alive during the 1930s, you were a fucking infant. And I think that's what is on the horizon for us. So, yeah, get your finances in order, if anything. And hope to God that the fucking AI isn't there when it happens. Because, goodness, I think everyone's out of their element. Chat, what do you have to say about it? Yes, true. Very true, chat. I'm not going to read this article. If you want to read this article, which was a response to this first one, you can. But I do want to talk about a few more things related to AI. For one, my old news station decided to start a fucking series exclusively around AI, and I think that's fucking disgusting. So we're gonna take a quick look at that. And I'm not looking at this simply to be like, wow, look at this series. More like, I want you to get an idea of that even the mainstream media are trying to normalize the existence and presence of AI. Obviously, it exists, it's present. But this is more of an accelerationist kind of mentality, and I don't think we're truly at the point yet where we should be creating media about the hype about AI. I think the majority of the public gives two shits about AI, and very, very few people, primarily tech bros, are excited about it. Yeah, fucking arcades. Because that means AI.
Welcome to Generation AI, the show where we explore how AI is reshaping our generation.
Hi, Derek.
I'm Derek Stahl. Nearly
Miss
two-thirds
you,
of
buddy.
Americans now say they interact with AI.
I genuinely do get very much, or like, I got very much along with Derek. We didn't work very often together, but when we did, it was genuinely a joy. And when I was, when my arm got injured, I won't get into the details about that right now, but he was one of the very few people that reached out and wished me well. So I have absolutely no malice in my heart for Derek, but it is kind of upsetting to see that he is the host for this fucking show.
AI several times a week, at least. But my guest today says most people are using AI wrong. She was named one of the Times 100 most influential people in AI. She's taught AI workshops on all 7 continents. She previously served as the head of machine learning for startups and venture capital at Amazon Web Services. Now she's the founder and CEO of Open Machine, a company that helps businesses deploy AI. She's been an AI advisor to Fortune 500 companies, and she's worked with top labs like Google, Anthropic, and OpenAI. Please welcome Allie K. Miller. Allie, thanks for being on Generation AI.
Whoa. What's that?
Whoa is right. Anyways, we're not going to watch any of this. But it's particularly upsetting, I guess is the best way to say it, as a former person employed by this very news outlet, Gray Media, an affiliate of CBS. CBS is kind of in the trash at this point, but I continue to have a degree of respect for Gray Media after I left them. This, however, is disappointing because at the heart of journalism is a trust in authenticity. But engaging with AI is engaging with the idea that that your news isn't being delivered authentically by someone who is documenting or witnessing events that happened. An AI cannot be a deliverer of truth because an AI did not authentically experience the gathering of truth. Especially for like a daily news station such as AZ Family. They go out and report on mostly shootings and car accidents. And AI cannot go witness a shooting or a car accident. And so just kind of fundamentally, I look at this program and I truly ask myself how far AZ Family has gone since I left them. Obviously, it's not Gray Media's fault that CBS decided to get bought out by Larry Ellison and be led by Barry Weiss, but it truly doesn't help their perception that they now have to plaster that they are a CBS affiliate. And this, again, is another just kind of... I find it disgusting. And I'm sure that there are many staff at AZ Family who would love to say it, but unfortunately can't because they're employed there. And to dissent is to be fired. I'm evidence numero uno, even though I expected it. So, yeah. I wish the best to my former staff members at AZ Family. I harbor no hate in my heart for any of them, truly. But goddamn, this is not a good look for them. This is a video essay by Adam Neely about just music in the AI industry. It is well over an hour long, and I no longer have the energy to continue. So we will end this stream simply with one last thing. What is it? Hold on. Let me find it. I listen to it all the time. Where's my playlist? Thank you so much for being a part of the stream. This is going to be the last thing we do on stream. It's going to only be for a few moments. Yeah. Predador de Perareca. All right, let's listen to the bangingest AI song out there, okay? And I listened to this song. It went viral when it came out. It is generated by AI, and it's a fucking bop, and I don't know what to tell you. I'm disappointed in myself that I fucking get down to this fucking song. And it's indicative that even AI will take over the just the arts, the appreciation that man has for beauty. We will undeniably look at the arts and call it beautiful, even though there's no soul, there's no emotion. If music is the language of emotion, what does an AI know about emotion? It's never experienced a thing in its life. It only iterates on the experiences of those who were alive, and it doesn't know what that means. The future truly is just an experience of living in the moment beyond our screens. Anytime we engage with media, with the digital space, it will likely be one of a dead internet. So let's get down and boogie to the sentiment. Woo! AI, robots, taking over. Love it. Don't look up the lyrics for this song. It's vulgar as hell. All right, I'm being cringe as hell. Thank you so much for coming to the stream, for talking all things news and politics this week. We do this every Thursday. This is the times we live in. I can't really impart you with some kind of optimistic message coming out of this, but have some whimsy, I suppose. Maybe that's my message. Enjoy a little bit of whimsy while we get to enjoy it. Who will take it first? Who will take our ability to enjoy whimsy first? Will it be ICE? Will it be Donald Trump? Will it be Pam Bondi? Will it be fucking Gavin Newsom? Will it be AI itself? You decide. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Happy Thursday. I'll see you next week.